We are live here on the Better Sports Network. It is FFPC Insider Access. Hi, hello, and welcome to Fantasy Football Night in America. My name is Eric Balkman. You can connect with me on X at Eric Balkman. You know me from the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour, the RotoViz High Stakes Lowdown, and of course the Fantasy Football Players Championship, myffpc.com. Our guest, I would say, normally needs no introduction, but my God, he's got to be the busiest man in fantasy sports. This is a guy right now, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm being completely truthful with this. Works harder than a dog for Fantasy Points. Of course, the co-host of the Fantasy Points podcast with the guru himself, John Hansen, writer for Fighting Chance Fantasy Sports, co-host of the Fantasy Football Hustle. You hear him on SiriusXM Fantasy, and he was the Football Article of the Year writer for the FSWA. You also will see him on Fantasy Pros and the Huddle, as well as Sportskeeda Pro Football. Unbelievable stuff here at Drake Fantasy on the X to catch up on everything he's got going on. He is Brian Drake. Brian, good evening and welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me. First of all, should I also tell you today I had a call with a sports betting app to do videos for them during the week? Hey, whatever I can do here. It is a privilege to do fantasy sports content and to have anybody pay you to do it. I know there's so many folks out there, and especially folks that play in the FFPC. There's a lot of really smart guys and girls out there that could absolutely be doing content, and maybe they have started doing content. Once you get people to start paying you to do it, it's awesome. And I'm very, very thankful. And as long as people will have me to have my shtick, I'll keep doing it. But I've not blown you off. You've asked me for 2 months to come on this show on Thursday night. But the problem is every Thursday night during the summer is my golf league. Right. So I can't come on Thursday nights, or else then I'm recording with Hansen or whatever. And now I'm like, no, we're doing it. Put it down for this night. Totally didn't realize that there's an Eagles game tonight.
See, now here's the great thing about this, Brian, or maybe not great for you, but great for us and for our viewers. I knew there was an Eagles game, and I knew you were an Eagles fan. And when you said, let's do it, let's make it happen, I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. We're going to have Brian Drake dispensing fantasy knowledge, and we're going to have a guy who is a passionate Eagles fan hanging out, watching the game, at least the first quarter. I mean, not the whole game, but at least the first quarter tonight, which is going to be a lot of fun as well. And we'll get in, by the way, we're going to go around the NFL in the first segment. Second segment is dedicated to Eagles Giants. And then while we're watching the Eagles and Giants with you tonight, everybody, we will also be doing some start and sits coming up for week 6, which is a tough week for sure. I wanted to ask you this because I listen to you and Hansen a lot. You normally were like my IPA guy. Like you were always, you're all about the IPAs and you're always sucking them down. And then I found out shortly before the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton.
Many beers were had there.
Well, no, but I thought you switched to the high noons. You were a high noon guy then.
Yeah. So as you can see behind me, I've got a brewery Omegang sign,
which I love. That is a fantastic brewery, and that's in New York, right?
It's in Cooperstown. Yeah, I worked for them for about a year. A great people, cool vibe down there in Cooperstown, and I do love IPAs. And during the hour here, we'll see when we hit the breaks what I've got in my mini fridge over here. But I did go and buy a 4-pack of Pineapple High Noons and a giant lemonade Surfside for the game tonight, just because I don't know, like I'm getting older. They're easier to go down. Hey, I'll tell you this, first and foremost, during the Super Bowl last year, I drank NAs. I'm like, my old ass can't take drinking 4 or 5 beers and getting up to go to work. I can't do it. I'm 45 years old. I got to get up with the kids, make sure they're on the bus. So the NAs really have become part of the rotation as well. Shout out to Bud Zero, which is excellent. Tastes just like a great real beer.
I did the last couple of years I have done dry January, which I don't want to say was a challenge because then it makes you think like, oh, I'm addicted and I have to have it all the time. But it was a nice refresher. Yeah. And my plan was to do sober October this year.
The hell with that. October's like the best month to drink.
That's the thing is like October 2nd rolled around and
October 2nd.
Well, like October 2nd got there and I'm like, I knew I was not going to make it the whole month. And there's no glory in like making it till October 17th or October 20th or whatever. So I'm like, I might as well just, and imbibe and enjoy. So that's what I'm doing. But you never know for next year. We'll see what happens there. Okay. Alcohol aside here.
Yes. Sorry.
I do. I invited you into it. The FFPC Weekly Challenge is live right now, both myffpc.com for the Thursday Weekly Challenge and the Sunday Weekly Challenge. There's no draft. There's no salary cap. You're just picking 10 or 12 players, depending upon if you want to play with kickers and defenses or not. Win up to $2,500, 10-team, 30-team, and 100-team contests available now. Only one player per NFL team. If you want Cam Scadaboo, you cannot have Wan'Dale Robinson. If you want Jalen Hurts, you can't have Saquon Barkley. MyFFPC.com is where to go, MyFFPC.com. Shout out to our producer, Sean Engel, pushing all the buttons tonight. Let's lead off with my Green Bay Packers, Brian.
Okay.
The Joe Flacco-led Cincinnati Bengals.
Good Lord.
Right. So Zach Taylor announced yesterday that Flacco will be the starter at Lambeau Field Sunday afternoon. There's so much to unpack here. I think where I want to start is your thoughts on the impact of, and I'll preface this by saying, I remember in 2023 when Burrow went down, and I thought Browning was not only passable, I thought he was pretty good as a borderline quarterback one, definitely a top 15 quarterback when Burrow went down. And that was when Jamar Chase also was hurt at the same time as well. So needless to say, I was pretty disappointed to see what he did in his starts this year. They were not great matchups. Vikings, Broncos, Lions, obviously. Those are tough roads to hoe there. But then they make the move to Joe Flacco. My first question to you, not only this week against Green Bay, but going forward, how big of an improvement, if any, is this for guys like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins?
I don't necessarily think it is that much of an improvement. I mean, if you look at Jake Browning, who was terrible, if you watch that game, he was throwing balls. Guys were fair catching his interceptions last week. Jake Browning had 2 top 15 fantasy weeks in his 4 starts. He was QB 11 last week. And again, pardon me, folks, if it looks like I'm staring off into space here when I'm talking, I had to move my whole configuration down here. So I have my game on, so I can have the Eagles game over here. So my main screen is, I got the camera here. I got my main screen here. But anyways, I just did a video for Fantasy Pros, and everyone always does these videos where they're like, here's 5 players you should start this week. And I said, the hell with that. Here's 3 guys to keep way far away from your lineup. And the number 1 guy with it was Joe Flacco. Like we just mentioned, somebody had a great picture of him getting off a plane in Cincinnati. He's been there all of 1 day. You think he knows the offense? You think he knows the protections? He doesn't know anyone's name at this point. So everyone's going to have this thought process of Joe Flacco. I remember he was winging it around Cleveland and they were scoring fantasy points and all this. How different is Joe Flacco going to be from this stat line? 26 of 40 for 251, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. That was Jake Browning last week, quarterback 11. You're going to get the exact same thing. And Joe Flacco's no spring chicken here. Like, I think he only has 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions on the season. Like, there's no saying Joe Flacco gets through this whole season and Jake Browning's not back in our lives 3-4 weeks from now. So I get why people are like, yeah, we're fired up. Chase and Higgins are back. But I mean, are they? Browning and Flacco are the same guy at this point in Joe's career. He's done.
Flacco, I think, is one of these things where we are looking at the grass is greener, where we have seen how bad it was with Browning, Brian, and we assume that like Flacco is going to improve everything. He is going to be the rising tide that raises Chase, that raises Higgins, Gesicki, Chase Brown, everybody here. And I think to your point, we could see a bad output from him against Green Bay this week. And all of a sudden in week 9, we're like, God, bring back Browning. At least this guy was mobile.
100%. Browning makes 5 more starts this year. There's no way Flacco finishes the season. No way.
Yeah, and now the Bengals have made their move, right? So it's not like they're going to acquire anybody else off of waivers or make another trade. for another quarterback. Like, this is it. This is what they're doing here. And we'll see what happens going forward here. You tell me. Chase Brown, to me, I have him in probably, and if I'm including dynasty leagues, I probably have him in about 9 or 10 leagues. I would say I'm flexing him out in about a third of them. The other 2/3, he's on my bench. Higgins, he's pretty much benched everywhere. I don't think I'm starting him anywhere. And then in Chase, I would say I probably have him started in about 90% of my leagues that I have him roughly around there. Do those all seem like correct ratios for Joe Flacco in Lambeau Field this weekend?
I mean, Chase Brown has been so bad. You look at what he's up to, and I'm pulling up some fantasy points data here. Cheap plug to my employer. 2.46 yards a carry for Chase Brown. He's been stuffed on 58.5% of his carries, which means it resulted in less than 4 yards on a play here. I mean, he's not doing anything. He's not forcing missed tackles. He's not getting any yards after contact. Really, when we talked about Chase Brown, we loved him because of the role in a big offense, and he was going to get a bazillion touches. Now he's on a terrible offense with a really bad line, and the touches aren't necessarily there. So the inefficiencies have really risen to the surface with Chase Brown. And we're like, oh, crap, this guy really isn't that great of a football player. And he just got there because he had 25 touches in a game. So I don't fault anybody for sitting Chase Brown at this point. If you've got Uncle Rico, you're playing Uncle Rico over him. Michael Carter, I'm going to play over him. I mean, really kind of anybody. Here's a real life question. And maybe you got them both in the first and second round. And you're wondering who to play. Who would you rather start this week? Derrick Henry or Chase Brown?
So I thought you were going to go like Derrick Henry or Rico Dowdle. And I was like, oh God, it's Uncle Rico for sure. And then you bring up Chase Brown or Derrick Henry, two players that you, like, to your point, you might have gone like at the 112.
Sure.
On Chase Brown and Derrick Henry. And
yeah.
It's just like, I have to look at seriously who I'm going to play between. Maybe you bench both of those guys this week. If I had my so just to bring it back here, Chase Brown is at Green Bay this week. Derrick Henry is going to be at home as a 7.5-point dog to the Los Angeles Rams,
who have not allowed a rushing touchdown all season.
Which I didn't realize until you pointed that out. This is why we have great guys like Brian Drake come on the show to point stuff like that out.
This is why you record videos 10 minutes before you go on show. So you do the research. You're like, oh, wow, I've got all these great stats.
And then it's fresh in your mind, too.
Yes.
I would still play King Henry, but quite frankly, Brian, I don't feel great about either of these guys this week. And I guess I'm more down about Chase Brown. I feel like Derrick Henry has the potential of being that type of guy, like, oh God, I can't believe I benched him. And then he churns out 18 carries for like 70 yards and he squeezes in a touchdown somehow or something like that. Whereas Chase Brown, the other thing with Brown is like, and there's this like narrative out there that, oh, Flacco will throw to his running backs. It's not like Chase Brown wasn't catching passes from Jake Browning. He was. But it was like, he get a half dozen catches for like 20 yards or whatever. Like there was no yardage production there. He was still getting the PPR points, which is good. And maybe that continues. But when both of them are down like this, where I don't feel good about either one of them, I tend to bet on talent. And I like the Henry talent better than Brown.
And Brown, really the hope here is there's a pass interference in the end zone and the ball's at the 1,
right?
And he gets a cheap touchdown in. By the way, I've got my son texting me. For all you folks watching out there, he's watching the Savannah Bananas schedule release, and he's like filling me in if they're going to come to Syracuse or
they're adding 2 new cities, I think.
That one of the new teams is the Loco Beach Coconuts. These are the texts that I get from my son while I'm on a live stream.
He's a fantasy player too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a big baseball guy. We've taken him to see the Savannah Bananas now at Fenway, at Camden Yards, and then in Cooperstown at Doubleday Field. And they played here in Syracuse at our minor league stadium. We have the AAA Mets here.
Yeah,
big fan. Oh, was he mad last night with the Yanks going down? It's one of those things where when you're a parent and you go up to the kid's room and you can tell they're like, they had a little tear in the eye because the season's over. And like I'm a baseball fan, but I don't care. I mean, I watched that Yankees team. They were not championship material, but it's good to teach your kids. And this is the article that I won the FSWA article of the year for, was about my son after the Eagles lost and then teaching him fantasy football and all that. But it's the same story and the same mindset of you've got to be all right with losing because it's going to happen in fantasy, in reality, in life. You're going to lose. And, if you guys just check it out, Google my award, you can read that article. It's good if you're a parent, you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think too, that's good lessons for whether you're a parent, whether you're not a parent. Just reading for your fantasy teams or just sports in general, 99% of the time, it is a lost cause. Your team will not win. 1% of the time, yeah, it's glorious, it's great, you love it. But most of the time, it's a failed investment, both emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, everything that goes into it, which I think is something we need to understand for fantasy as well. It's hard to win fantasy football leagues. It's hard to win high stakes fantasy football leagues, like whatever you're doing. So then when it does happen, enjoy the moment.
Yes.
Let the juices drip off your chin and embrace the moment of winning a league, because it's rare. And you think of how rare it is, like to win $1 million in the FFPC Big Gorilla or the FFPC. Like that is just.
I just want to win pros versus Joe.
Pros versus Joes is another one.
Listen,
yeah, exactly.
I'm in third place right now in my division. And you want to talk about a little sweat tonight we can have some fun with. I've got on my roster Jalen Hurts and Jackson Dart. So pulling for it. Let's see who's going to be in my starting lineup this week.
Was this the team you drafted with Matt Donnelly?
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, we're in third.
Were those the only 2 quarterbacks you drafted, or did you draft a third?
Oh my Lord. Oh no, we also have Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence is the other one. Okay. All right. So interesting.
This team's good.
Yeah.
Lawrence, we got ETN, we got Javonte Williams.
Oh, nice.
Nico Collins, Devontae Adams, Travis Kelce, Keenan Allen, Trey McBride. Then there's Hurts and Dart. Aaron Jones, okay, he's dead. Pacheco sucks. Will Shipley, maybe he gets a garbage touchdown.
Aaron Jones is not dead, by the way.
Close enough.
He's going to come back at some point.
And then a bunch of scrubs here, and then my guy Arondé Gadsden.
Shout out to you for 2 reasons. Number one, maybe the league winner of all league winners. You got Javonte Williams on this squad. And then you were with, I was Dan Williamson from Fantasy Empire and Goat District. He was all about drafting Keenan Allen and all these best balls throughout the course of drafting season. And I wasn't really, and he kind of turned me on. He's like, look, I think I had him on this show and I asked him about this. And he's like, look, Balky, he's going to sign with somebody. Yes. I don't know who it is, but as soon as he signs with somebody, his ADP is going to go up 4 or 5 rounds. And you know what? He was right. And I think it's gone about as well as you could have hoped in Los Angeles so far. But Keenan Allen's looking like a really good pick as well. Los Angeles is where I want to go next, Brian, not for good news, but for bad news. Chris Ream, who I believe covers the Los Angeles Chargers, reported that Jim Harbaugh has announced Omarion Hampton is going on injured reserve, which means he is out at least for the next 4 games. This is after he had taken over a bell cow role when Najee Harris went down. And it's Hassan Haskins, Kamani Vidal, Natron Means, where are you? We could really use it.
I had a guy tweeting at me, actually a really smart guy, Mark Garcia there.
Hilo,
yeah. And he was like, don't forget about Naheem Hines.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Christ, if we got to worry about Naheem Hines now. But I actually put a tweet out yesterday. So I work in an office and I have to go out and stretch my legs every so often. Otherwise I'll go crazy. So I just make up tweets while I walk around the streets. And so here I did this one. Omarion Hampton this season has 18 targets in their last 3 games. He caught 17 for $122. That's really how he's getting his fantasy points so far this year, because their offensive line sucks. Both of their tackles are out. It's not great sledding. So Hassan Haskins has been in LA for 2 years. He has 4 total targets in 2 years. Meanwhile, Kamani Vidal is a legitimate pass catcher out of the backfield. So I know there's a lot of folks that'll give you the stat breakdown of who played this many snaps in this game and that game. I got a feeling, Balkman, this is going to be just both guys are going to play. It's going to be annoying. It's going to be like this guy gets this drive and they go in, and then the next drive in the 2-minute, it'll be Vidal. That'll be the saving grace for Kamani Vidal. I think he's going to get the 2-minute and the hurry up work. And then the long down and distance. But I want to quote my buddy Dwayne McFarland, who I did the Fantasy Football Hustle with, who was using these terms years ago, and now they've become part of the lexicon of fantasy football. So shout out to Dwayne.
I'm sorry. I thought you had more. I'm sorry.
I'll keep bullshitting. Don't worry. Let's go.
No, because I have some things to say here. So from a high stakes fantasy football aspect, I put in a lot of bids last night on both Haskins and Vidal.
Mm-hmm.
Not to quote Judge Smales from Caddyshack, not because I wanted to, because I thought I owed it to him. I did not get him a whole lot. I mean, I'm going like 15-20% of my budget, which is probably depleted right now. So I didn't think I was going to get, but these were most keep them honest bids. I think I got Haskins out of like 30 some leagues. I think I got Haskins in one. I don't think I got Vidal anywhere. But I did have higher bids on Vidal over Haskins, and I'm with you. I think I think Jim Harbaugh, his history with Haskins dates back to Michigan, right? So he trusts this guy, knows this guy, but and he was on the active roster, whereas Vidal was on the practice squad, where he got elevated in week 5, right? So I think from a fantasy standpoint, in this type of situation, you don't necessarily want to acquire the plotter, the accumulator, the guy who is going to get touches, but not the high value touches, the HVTs, as the kids say. You want to make sure you get the guy who is going to be catching the passes, the guy who's going to be the more explosive player. Now, I don't think either one of these guys are explosive players, but if I had to pick one, it'd probably be Vidal, which is why I went higher on him than Haskins. I don't necessarily want any part of this for week 6. However, Brian, when you look at what could happen in week 6, similar to the Michael Carter, Amari DeMarcado situation, we might find some more information on who the Chargers are going to roll with this week. Not this week, but going forward. We didn't know with Carter and DeMarcado. Now we know it's Carter. We don't know between Haskins and Vidal, but you want pieces of these players, in the rosters you can afford it with, to try to figure out to try to make sure you have a piece of it going forward. So coming up into week 7, hopefully this will not be a split. And we'll know it's either Haskins or Vidal. And if it is a split, well, these guys are pretty, they're not sponge worthy anymore, and you can cut. That's basically what it is.
Shout out to Elaine.
Elaine Bennis getting a mention on the show tonight.
That's great.
Yeah.
Let me see here. I want to pull up as we talk about, the Cardinals as well. I want to see what now. Amari DeMarcado, we know his coach just punched him in the face and had to apologize and got slapped with 100 large.
Were you surprised at $100,000 fine from the team on that? I mean, to me, that's like, if my employer is finding me $100,000, I better win this year or I am out.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those things you wonder. Again, is it show? Is it? We'll cover this on the backside. Who knows? I mean, there's so many of these things in pro sports, and you see our guy Pablo Torres comes out and shows how shady and backhanded some of these contracts are with, guys getting paid off to the side you don't know about. Like, that's been happening forever. You don't think Jerry Jones is dipping in and giving guys, here's $5 million in an envelope, come hang out and play with us. But anyways,
the old McDonald's bag for the University of Miami, right?
We're going to get off the rails. That's why I love doing these shows. So I was a liquor salesman for a long time. And one of the guys who worked at a liquor store was a player at Syracuse back in the 80s, like the Tim Green days, right?
Football.
Yeah. Sorry. Football player. And big dude. He's still a big guy. And I would always ask him crazy, tell me a crazy story about recruiting or this, that. And he said it came down to Syracuse and Penn State. And he and his father went to Penn State on a visit, and they go into the hotel room, and there's a new suit hanging in the closet for his father. And in the pocket is an envelope with $5,000 cash. Again, this is like 1982.
And it was Syracuse, by the way, too.
Yeah, Syracuse and Penn State. Well, Penn State's the guy that paid him. At the time.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm like, what'd you do? He's like, my dad and I went out to dinner and like we got the money. Yeah. I'm like, do you feel bad about that? But that's got to happen so much in obviously college and pros. But anyways, Amari DeMarcado, if there's a game, and obviously the Cardinals lost a ridiculous game last week, thanks in part to DeMarcado. If there's a game though where they're trailing and he's got to be that long down and distance third down guy, I mean, he did play. Shout out to Dwayne and his utilization report. 67% of their snaps last week in the 2-minute, all their long down and distance. I saw DeMarcado was dropped in a ton of leagues in season long. That's not the worst guy to pick back up in the stash because he has a role. He just isn't the between the tackles grinder, which is what they needed early on against Tennessee.
But we don't necessarily want that for fantasy. We don't want the between the tackles. We know Amari DeMarcado is a guy that's going to catch passes.
Yeah.
We saw his electric play that ended in infamy, essentially. But I mean, Adam Krautwurst from the Deep End Fantasy Football Podcast, I cite him all the time. He always says, never drop a running back. Never, because you never know when it's going to come back to bite you.
There's one that we're going to talk about that I literally just dropped today, but I'm looking up DeMarcado right now. I'm looking up in all my Yahoo leagues.
The DeMarcado thing is,
how do you spell DeMarcado? Why can't I do this?
I think it's DEMERCADO.
Let's see what. Okay, he's 34% owned. Oh, he's a free agent in my biggest league.
There you go, Brian. We're making dreams happen here tonight on FFPC.
Oh God, now I got to figure out who to drop.
Well, don't drop a running back. We know that's the case.
Might be Darnell Mooney. Anyways,
the running back conversation continues here. Jacory Croskey-Merritt rushed 14 times for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns in the Commanders' win this past weekend over the Chargers, who we were just talking about. He also caught 2 passes for 39 yards on 2 targets. We're going to get into him this week, but I want to bring up John Pork, who's watching us on YouTube right now. Has a question on who to roster for the remainder of the season.
Is that a porn name? Is that your real name, John Pork? I love that.
It's his name is a sentence. We love it. So he's got a question. Does he roster Brian Thomas Jr. or does he roster Jacory Croskey-Merritt the rest of the season? Now, it stinks that you have to make this call between these two players.
This has got to be a trade question.
Okay, if it's trade, if it's a trade, and I can
shout out to Joey Wright.
Joey Wright's in here. Oh, excellent, awesome. Football guys, royalty hanging out with us. Good to see Joey. Initially I thought you meant John Pork was the pseudonym on YouTube for Joey Wright. And I'm like, well, that's bizarre.
That may be Joey Wright's porn name.
No, it's not Joey Wright. At least I don't think. BTJ or JCM the rest of the season. If I have the opportunity to trade Jacory Croskey-Merritt right now for Brian Thomas Jr., I will do that, Brian.
Yeah, and I actually did trade Brian Thomas Jr. 2 weeks ago off a season-long team when the Twitter doctors were out there talking about could be something in his hand, and he doesn't look great. Let's be honest. They're spreading the ball around a ton in Jacksonville, and he just doesn't look like the guy that you drafted at the end of the first round, early second round. So, listen, I put out a tweet, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, and I said Jacory Croskey-Merritt's a jag, and guys are butthurt that he's not getting the role that they wanted. And they were upset about it. And everybody's coming out of the woodwork, all these Commanders fans. But I was right. And listen, I still don't think Jacory Croskey-Merritt is the most talented guy out there. Could he be the most talented on this team? Absolutely. And that's all we care about because he's a running back getting touches. Now, let's be honest, though. Is he getting any passing down work? Not really. He's still not in on the long down and distance. He's not playing any hurry up. He did run 38% of the routes in week 5, which is great, but it's not a bell cow situation. He's a fun guy. People want to root for, like, hey, look, I got this year's sleeper. But he had great. He was PPR running back 5 last week. Is he going to continue that? We still haven't seen Jaden Daniels run at all this year. Usually he could steal something inside the 10 and steal some goal line touches. So again, I would rather have the alpha wide receiver because those guys don't grow on trees. You can't replace Brian Thomas Jr. on the waiver wire.
And you're buying a distressed asset at this point too, with
you can
TJ.
find Jacory Croskey-Merritt on the waiver wire. His name's Rico Dowdle. His name's Michael Carter. Name any of these guys that you're picking up and starting. His name's Jacory Croskey-Merritt. You just found him, right? So you can't find that on the waiver wire at wide receiver. It doesn't happen.
July on YouTube right now has a question. Should July trade Jackson Smith and Jigba and Devon Achane to get Josh Jacobs and CeeDee Lamb? This is full PPR. July said that they'd be waiting until next week to accept the trade if they did this. So July is giving up Smith and Jigba and Achane. He's getting back Jacobs and Lamb. I don't know where I fall in on this. Because I don't think we've seen the best of Jacobs this year.
I want the Jacobs Lamb side. You're getting the two best players in the trade. I think CeeDee Lamb's better than JSN, and Josh Jacobs is.
Achane's definitely okay. Here's the thing: you're saying that Jacobs is better than Achane and Lamb is better than Smith and Jigba?
Yeah, that's
wow.
what. I mean, listen, JSN is having an unbelievable season right now. He's wide receiver. Let me see. Look at the. He's wide receiver 4. Yeah. So it's not like he's bad by any stretch. But to get good players in a trade, you have to give up good players in a trade. Anybody would be happy to have these guys. I'm just saying, you get CeeDee Lamb back. That team is going to throw the ball 1,000 times this season because they can't stop anybody. You've got Josh Jacobs now, who I believe passed his bye as well, which helps. Miami is a terrible team. Did you see that it's probably some dope on Twitter making something up. There was trade rumors with Achane. Like, I don't know on what planet you would ever trade Devon Achane, especially on his rookie contract.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
If I could get the two, I think I'm going to want that Jacobs CeeDee Lamb. You have the guy who could either one, JSN or CeeDee Lamb could be number 1 wide receiver. But, Josh Jacobs with a bye week is still running back 13.
Packers offensive line is getting healthier too. Zach Tom, who the right tackle that they just paid a boatload of money, he was dealing with an oblique injury. He started the game against Dallas on Sunday Night Football a couple weeks ago. He left after one play because the pain was too bad. However, he has been practicing this week. So it looks like Green Bay is going to get Zach Tom back. Aaron Banks, the guy that they paid all this money in the offseason for at left guard, looks like he's going to be back this week as well. The biggest injury that they have on the offensive line now is Anthony Belton, who is kind of like a swing tackle on this team. So you don't necessarily have to count on him for Jacobs in a perfect world. And you get the Cincinnati defensive line this week. This could be a big time party for Josh Jacobs going forward.
Breaking news into the show.
Please, go ahead.
September 11th and 12th, the firefighters and the tailgaters will play banana ball in Syracuse at NBT Bank Stadium. And literally a year from now, almost.
This is why your camera is shaking right now, Brian, because your son is just jumping all over the place.
Yes, he's sending me the screenshot here.
There you go. Unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable stuff.
I know everybody out there cares.
Exactly. Lex plants some trees on YouTube.
Tremendous name.
Absolutely. We're just talking about Croskey-Merritt. He has to bench one of these players. He's going to start everybody but one. Croskey-Merritt, Ashton Genty, Rico Dowdle, Cam Scadaboo. And he's got to make this decision within the next roughly 40 minutes here before Sunday Night Football kicks off. To me, this comes down to Croskey-Merritt or Scadaboo. I'm definitely playing Genty. I'm definitely playing Uncle Rico here.
Yeah.
On a Scadaboo and Croskey-Merritt, which one would you be sitting, Brian?
Well, if people haven't seen it already, Jalen Carter is inactive for this game. He has a heel injury that he picked up in practice. He's a little beat up. He's also got a shoulder issue. It would not shock me at all, being that the Eagles then have to play the Vikings next week, if they look at this game and they go, we could probably win without Ashton Genty or without Jalen Carter.
Right.
Let's give him some time off and give him a full week to heal. So, oh man, you're going to get Tyrone Tracy back in this game as well.
Yeah.
Does Tyrone Tracy take over that kind of 2-minute passing down offense when the Eagles are up by 20 in the third quarter? I think, I think I got to sit Scadaboo here.
I would be too. And I don't think I'm stressing over it as much as you. The total on this game tonight between the Eagles and Giants, 40.5. One of the two Monday night games we get this week, in fact, the one that starts at 8:15, Bears Commanders, 49.5. So you're talking about a 9-point difference there. The Commanders are 4.5-point favorites. And obviously Scadaboo and the Giants are 7-point home dogs tonight. So for me, I just think I look at it from the game script point of view. I look at what these guys were dealing with that last week. I look at what Scadaboo's dealing with this week with Tracy, and I don't think he's going to here's the thing. I'm playing Scadaboo in a bunch of leagues tonight, because I still believe that he is going to put up some numbers. However, Tracy is going to do enough for me for Scadaboo to sit him if my other option is Croskey-Merritt. That's the way I look at it. So I'd be sitting Scadaboo here.
I always feel bad when I give advice and I know the game's going to be on. So I guarantee in the first 20 minutes of this game, while you and I are still on the air, Cam Scadaboo is going to have a 15-yard rushing touchdown, and Lex is going to come back to us like, you idiots.
Yeah.
I knew I should have played Scadaboo and sat Bill Nye the Science Guy. And
then you know what happens? Scadaboo doesn't see anything the rest of the way. Croskey-Merritt rushes for 3 touchdowns on Monday, and we never hear from Lex again. That's the problem.
Lex has got a whole party going on in that photo. Was he at the beach? He's got like
I don't know. Yeah, it looks like it's a great cover photo or a great profile photo for YouTube as well. Speaking of YouTube, Ray C, a longtime viewer of this show, popping aboard right now. Right now, Ray C has J.K. Dobbins and Quinshon Judkins in the starting lineup. If Chuba Hubbard, who Ray C has dubbed Chubbard, is out this week.
That's my nickname in high school.
Yeah. Would you put Dowdle in over Dobbins? Would you put Dowdle in over Judkins? And I'm going to be honest with you. I already think Hubbard's going to be out. For me, Brian, Dowdle's the guy I like best out of all these players.
Hubbard's not playing. There's no way. He hasn't practiced all week. He's got a bad calf. Hubbard's
so then the question should be Judkins or Dobbins this week.
Yeah, I mean, Rico's playing against the Cowboys too. You don't think
you have to get Dowdle in.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no question. So when it comes down to it, I think you have to make the choice of do I start the rookie against the Steelers this week, or do I start this guy that seemingly has 9 lives, J.K. Dobbins, the cat of the NFL, who just never seems to die? He gets the Jets this week. I think that's what the true question is here, because you're playing Dowdle. Down to Judkins or Dobbins.
I'm looking at our rankings here at Fantasy Points, and we've got Dowdle and then Judkins. Judkins at RB15 this week, and J.K. Dobbins down at RB22. Now he's playing against the Jets. This could be a game also where if they're really trying to run the ball a lot, maybe we do see a little more RJ Harvey. He could get game script out of some games. It seems like when they want to run the ball, they can alternate series with those guys. So maybe that's because, again, the Jets are awful. They're a hapless unit. Watch the Jets win this game, by the way, just because that's what happens.
It's London too. So, I mean, weird
stuff
stuff happens. How many times have we seen these European games not go anywhere close to what we thought was going to happen?
The fields are terrible. The players don't want to be there. It's so weird. I hate the international games. I understand why they do it. I hate it for the surfaces they play on because they're atrocious and it leads to bad football.
I hate it for that aspect. But Brian, I'm telling you, if I can get a quadruple header every Sunday
it's cool. Yeah.
I love it. And that's a long day of football, but I have yet to watch all 4 time frames of games and then hit halftime of the Sunday night game where God, I just want to go to bed. I'm still into it. It's still been awesome. And I'll tell you what too. And I know maybe you have an opinion on these double Monday night games, but I think it was week 2 or week 3 where they put them where one ended and then the other one was starting. I like that so much better than putting them where they're stacking them up.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you.
I would be fine. I was talking with a guy at my local radio station, actually my market manager, and he's like, would you want this every week? And I said, my heart says I would love to see a 7 o'clock and a 10 o'clock Monday night football game every week. I just don't think I could take it for like every single week of the season.
I
It
know.
sounds awesome in theory, but I don't know if I could do it.
I could go so many ways on this, and that's why, again, I love doing these shows. So every team, when the NFL redoes their schedule to whatever it's going to be, to 20 weeks, every
Right.
team's going to play an international game. It's going to happen. Every team will play an international game. You'll have 2 bye weeks. That's how it's going to go. Do you remember when Monday Night Football was such a big thing? The older folks watching this will remember this. When you would listen to, like, the Howard Stern show in the morning, and then they would go to a 20-minute commercial break. And then there were ads for bars, and they would be promoting their Monday Night Football, like, wing and beer special. Like, you don't hear any of that anymore because everyone's got a 70-inch TV at their house. But Monday Night Football used to be so special, where people would go out and watch the game. I'm with you. I like it. Have a West Coast game, have an East Coast game, because what's the point? Now I got to flip back and forth. I mean, luckily I have 2 TVs, but I got games that are 45 minutes apart. That's dumb.
I usually what I do is I will light up a cigar and I'll go in my backyard, and I got my outdoor TV out there.
My wife's killing for one of those. How, you got to tell me how that works.
It's been great. It's been great so far. We've had it for probably about it's gotten through one Wisconsin winter, and it's been great. But
is it a special TV?
Yeah, it's and my wife bought it, so I don't know the ins and outs of it.
Okay.
But it is something that, like, you and we don't even need a cover. They said you don't even need a cover for it. So we put it on a stand that, like, and you pull the TV out.
Yeah.
And when you're watching it, we have a hot tub back there too, so we'll like angle it at the right.
Why aren't you doing the show from there?
No, that's not. Nobody wants to see me in a hot tub for 2 hours. That's like
I have one as well. My pool's closed right now, but that would be. We'll do that in the summertime. We'll do shows from the pool. I could float around on a raft, and we'll do a summer show. And we'll
I think I'm on board with that. In fact,
that would be fun.
Put a laptop on you, and we'll cover a live draft with you drafting, hanging out on a raft in your pool.
I'll get Donnelly to come down from Calgary.
Oh my God, this would be great.
We'll have him. That's only probably like an 18-hour flight. He'll be into it. He's probably watching right now.
He'd be down. There's no question that he'd be down for it. No, but grab a cigar and watch the games out there. But I'll put, when they stack them up against each other, then I bring out my iPad. So I got one on the small screen or whatever, and one on the big screen, which it's not ideal, but I'll put up with it, and I'll put up with it this Monday as well. We talked about Rico Dowdle. I want to wide scope this a little bit with you. Dowdle did what he did against a bad rushing offense. And the narrative I've heard most of the week this week has been, well, you can't just turn your back on Dowdle. I mean, he's clearly carved out a role even when Hubbard's healthy. And I think that's the case. But don't you think that the Carolina Panthers decision makers, Dave Canales, everybody there, don't you think they understand, like, yeah, we need to reward him, but we're certainly not going to take this as, hey, this is the next coming of Walter Payton or anything like that. I feel like Hubbard is not going to be Wally Pipped in this sense. Now, he might get volume taken away, but if both of these guys are healthy, and to your point, I don't think it happens this week, but if both of these guys are healthy in week 7, I still feel much more comfy starting Hubbard than I do Dowdle. Am I wrong? How are you handling this going forward? And I guess a lot of it depends upon what Dowdle does this week as well.
I mean, we have short memories here in fantasy where we think, like, oh yeah, Dowdle took over and it's this amazing thing, and Chuba Hubbard isn't capable of doing that. Chuba Hubbard had 2 games last year where he ran for over 150 yards. Like, he had these games. I mean, yeah, he didn't go for 200, but against the Giants, he ran for $153. And then week 16 against Arizona, I'm sure a lot of you high stake guys remember this, where he ran for 152 and 2 touchdowns. So he's hurt. He's got a calf injury. They just paid him a ton of dough. Rico is on the street. Nobody wanted him. So yeah, they bring Rico in. They go, this is what you're supposed to do. This is what we're paying you for. This is what we schemed up. But I don't think it necessarily takes all of Chuba's work. But again, Chuba's got a calf injury. Those could linger. They could flare up again. I want to tell people, if you've got Dowdle, and then let's say next week Chuba Hubbard comes back, don't drop Dowdle immediately.
No.
You know, sometimes that happens. We're like, all right, this guy's done. Let's go find the next guy. Keep Dowdle around.
Rico Dowdle, and I don't want to make light of this, could be convicted of a crime, and I will not drop him off my roster. Like after a 206, he's an injury away. He is an injury away from being a potential league winner. And I know it was against the Dolphins or what, it was against the Dolphins, right? That he crushed it. Yeah. Dolphins. I know it was against the Dolphins. Who's to say that this guy can't step in and be a flex guy for you in week 16 or week 17 and be the difference in winning you $1 million in the big gorilla or the FFPC main event? So I can't, in no good conscience can I cut this guy. Now, a player that I think I'm flirting with cutting with, and I have him in a lot of leagues, Brian. Trevor Lawrence on Monday Night Football against Kansas City, 18 to 25, 221 yards passing. He throws for a touchdown. He throws for a pick. He also gets 54 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns on 10 carries, including the BS of all BS touchdowns late in the game, where Chris Jones was just agaze in watching Trevor Lawrence score on this play that he couldn't even move. I have, even though this is a great win for the Jaguars, even though this was awesome for Jacksonville, they're 4-1 now. Kudos to them. I have still more questions than answers with Trevor Lawrence right now, not only for redraft season, but going forward. I was on a radio station on the other side of the state in Western Wisconsin today. And I was talking about Trevor Lawrence, and I said, this guy, I watch him play on Monday Night Football. He's making mistakes that a rookie or a second-year quarterback makes. Not a guy who's been in the league, 4 or 5 years or whatever it's been with Lawrence right now. And even though he has Liam Cohen and Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter and Travis Etienne and Michelle Tootin and Brenton Strange and all these guys, I feel like the more I watch Lawrence play, the more I think he ain't it. And he's definitely not it in fantasy this year. He's a real difficult start, even if you're dealing with a bye week issue.
I hate to speak ill of him as he is on my Pros versus Joe's team, but listen, in a few years, Trevor Lawrence is going to be a backup on somebody's team. He's, to me, got that Carson Wentz, Danny Dimes thing with him where like he'll bounce around, he'll get a shot for some bad team. Like in 3 years, Trevor Lawrence is going to be starting games for Arizona when they tire of Kyler Murray. And then he's the backup and he'll come in. But again, let's look at what he's really doing out here. And he's got weapons. He has one game with over one touchdown pass. It was just week 2 against a terrible Cincinnati team. Last week he throws for 221. He hasn't had a 300-yard game. Yeah, he got the rushing score that helped him a ton. But at the end of that game, he's taking delay of games in crucial situations. They got to burn a timeout because he almost has another. I mean, what are we doing here with this guy? He doesn't know. He almost gets the first 2 plays of that drive were horrendous, where he gets run down and sacked and just wasting a ton of time. That was not a drive you would look at and go, that's a sharp quarterback who, has it together. When you watch, listen, Patrick Mahomes is the best guy in the game right now. But when you watch him execute down the stretch, every second matters. He knows where to go with the ball. He knows when to get rid of it. He knows when to run. I mean, Lawrence got lucky with that crazy touchdown at the end, but sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. But Trevor Lawrence is not good.
5th year in the league, Brian. This is his 5th year in the league.
Jesus.
It's unbelievable to see. Sticking with the Jacksonville conversation here, Cameron Wolfe, who covers the Jaguars for ESPN, believes that Travis Hunter is going to see more downfield opportunities in the coming weeks.
Sure.
Wolfe reported that the Jaguars coaches and some of the players felt that the offense was unlocked on Monday night against the Chiefs. There was a pass that Trevor Lawrence, probably not a great pass or not a great decision, but it was a great pass in double coverage to Travis Hunter that he came down with. It was really through 5 weeks in the NFL, it's his signature play, at least offensively speaking. You look at his skill set. You look at the other players on the team right now. You look at Brian Thomas struggling. I'm excited about Travis Hunter, but I'm not excited enough to put him in as wide receiver 3 in my lineups. No. I'm not excited enough to put him as a flex in my lineups. Chris Vaccaro, this is so great. Chris Vaccaro brought this up on the Fantasy Empire podcast earlier I think it was earlier. No, it was 2 weeks ago he brought this up, but it's still ringing true for me because I think this is honesty about a lot of players in the NFL and fantasy football. He was talking about Calvin Ridley, and this is before Ridley's breakout. And he said, you let Ridley, you don't cut him, but you let him rot on your bench until he gets those 2 weeks in a row where he's fantasy worthy, and then he's back in your good graces. And I feel like I still need to see more with Travis Hunter. He is starting in one of I have 31 managed leagues this year. He's starting in one of those leagues because I got injuries and bye week stuff going on there. That's it, man. Like I still need to see more from Travis Hunter before I start wanting him to go in when the bullets are flying, the real bullets are flying in the starting lineup. Had high hopes for him, and they've been crushed so far through 5 weeks.
Travis Hunter's metrics are not good, and that's why the NFL has to put out, when he just makes one little move and goes by a guy that we see every week, scrub players for the Patriots make those plays. And they're like, oh, Travis Hunter's back. Look at these moves. Like, okay, Travis Hunter wasn't a great receiver in college. Let's be honest about that. Travis Hunter was on a team that got a lot of attention and made circus catches, okay?
I will say this just real quick, Brian, because I know the pushback on the YouTube chat is going to come. Hunter did win the Biletnikoff Award for the best receiver in college football. So while I will agree with what you're saying, at least partially, everybody who knows college football still voted this guy as the best receiver that year.
Yeah, I get that. No question about it. He is a supreme athlete, is Travis Hunter. And I said this when he was coming out. I go, do I know if he's a great route runner? No. Do I know if he can win versus man? No, not really. He caught a lot of jump balls, and he caught a lot of back shoulder stuff and things that were wide open in screens at Colorado because he was in this gimmick offense with a bad quarterback. So I just got to get the Shador shots in there. But let's go to fantasy points data here and see what they say about Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter right now is playing in the slot 66% of the time. So if you're going to tell me we're going to take more shots down the field to him, you got to get him on the field, and you've got to get him out there outside, and you've got to get him actually running some vertical routes because he's simply not. His fantasy points per route run is 0.28. Oh. I mean, that is barely ahead of Hunter Renfrow, who is at 0.26. Okay. So, I mean, there's a bazillion stats I can go through here with this guy. He's only the first read on 14% of his routes. I mean, I could give you every stat under the sun here. We have it at Fantasy Points Data, but listen, he's a guy that's only being used in 3 wide sets. They spent a ton of assets to go get this kid. Get him on the damn field. Enough of the corner stuff, okay? Stop. Just play him. He is the best athlete on the field. Let him do those athletic things. Have they thrown him a screen this year? Like, can we get a bubble screen to this guy and let him run? Like, what are we doing? I would throw him 5 of those a week.
Yeah.
Is he running any reverses? Are you giving him any, like, he comes in motion, little pop pass, kind of where it comes to Lawrence and he just a little tap handoff? Like, where's the creativity?
And this is Liam Cohen too.
Yes.
This is not like Jeff Fisher or somebody like that. This is a guy who should know better. And so far he hasn't. So we'll see on that. Listen, I want to motor on here. Racy, I want to get to Racy's question here. Sean, if you want to throw that up on the screen, because this is something I own several. I shouldn't say own several. I own a lot of TreVeyon Henderson this year, but I own a couple of teams with my good buddy Jim out in the Oregon territory, as my Friday night co-host Farrell Elliott likes to say.
I love watching you and that guy, by the way.
Oh,
when you guys do the drafts, I always go for a walk on Sunday and I put my headphones in and listen to you guys. He's the best.
He's got that southern hospitality. He's great. That, like, people always said, like, oh, why do you guys need to disagree more on the show? And I'm like, Farrell disagrees with me all the time, but he's so nice about it. You'd never know. Like, where,
oh yeah, he'll sit there.
I'll say something like, oh, this guy, you need to be staying away from. Don't draft him at all. And he'll be like, oh, Balky, we need to disavow you of that notion right now because you are a smart GM and we need to make sure you are getting shares of Chris Godwin or TreVeyon Henderson.
It's so true.
And that's how he presents it. So I was talking with Jim about this, and he said, well, we got Vrabel with TreVeyon Henderson this year. And I did say before we drafted Henderson, I said, look, McDaniel and Vrabel don't really have the greatest track record of playing rookies.
Mm-hmm.
And we've all seen the memes on X about, Dion Bahar from basketball, with Trey Parker, Matt Stone, the South Park guys. And he always said, like, you
I used to
guys
have a movie poster of that in my room when I was a kid.
Oh, nice. Yeah. He's like, you guys mess with me like 20 or 25 more times. I swear I'm going to be done with you or whatever. And like every time Ramondre Stevenson fumbles, you guys do this 6 or 7 more times, then we'll be forced to give TreVeyon Henderson the football. No Antonio Gibson now. He's out for the year. Ramondre Stevenson already has 3 fumbles through 5 weeks. What do we expect from Henderson now going forward? Not only with Stevenson dealing with the fumble Rooskies, but Antonio Gibson not being able to play for the rest of the season. What are you looking at for Henderson right now, Brian?
I mean, ideally, you drafted this kid in the early 2nd round. You'd want to get him on the field. I'm just trying to look up some stats here on him because, listen, we all want to wish cast this into existence. He was so electric at Ohio State. Get this kid the football in space. And I'm surprised Josh McDaniels can't do that a little easier. We saw a little bit in the preseason.
Especially, by the way, with a capable quarterback in Drake May, too.
Yes. And remember, there was a play a few weeks ago where it was a pass that went for a long game, maybe even a touchdown to Ramondre Stevenson. And then after the game, Vrabel noted that, hey, in practice, we drew that up for TreVeyon. Right. And fantasy owners lost their mind. But again, if there's only 2 of them, these are these old, stodgy, defensive-minded coaches. And it's crazy to call them old. I remember when Vrabel was playing in college. But listen, he's got to get him on the field at some point. There just isn't enough bodies. And it's going to be one of these things where you just hang on to him. You don't play him. And fantasy's a long season. It's only week 6. Let's wait a few weeks. I bet by week 10, you're seeing he's got maybe even if it's 65-45 Ramondre, you're going to get high leverage touches and passing down work for TreVeyon. So I'm just trying to look if there's anything in the metrics here because he's got so few carries, against man and gap concept and zone concept. They run mostly man gap concept here. Ramondre's just better. He's got 25 carries for 91 yards.
So far. And we've seen this. I mean, it's more true of wide receivers, but we've seen rookie wide receivers really pick up the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we have to be patient for with Henderson. And I know all the FFPC players are like, look, it's a short regular season. I got to get going now. I get it.
I know.
But at the point, as we stand in week 6 right now, I don't want to play Henderson here. Okay. Let's do this. We're almost at 8:00 here. The game kicks off in like 16 minutes. Let's catch our breath. Brian, you need another Surfside lemonade.
I gotta get my first one. Another one. I gotta get number 1. I'm drinking waters over here.
All right, so there you go. He needs a Surfside lemonade. We're gonna get unfiltered Brian Drake from Fantasy Points.
We haven't yet.
No, well, maybe we have. Fantasy Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, the Fantasy Points podcast co-host at Drake Fantasy, joining us on the show tonight. I want to remind everybody the FFPC Weekly Challenge is live at myffpc.com. 10, 30, 100-team contest, $2,500 you can win per team. No draft, no salary cap. Just pick your players, 10 or 12 if you want to play with kickers and defenses, 1 player per NFL team. That's at myffpc.com. We will have our Thursday night preview coming up right now. Obviously, we're going to talk about Tracy versus Scadaboo. I want to talk about the receivers that Brian Drake is liking for the Giants with no Malik Neighbors and no Darius Slayton. But here's the thing, and this is going to be a treat. Noted Eagles fan Brian Drake is going to sound off on Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator for the Eagles, and how not only it's affecting Eagles fans, but you as fantasy players as well. FFPC Insider Access rolls on right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Folks, let me talk to you about my favorite weekly platform to play on. We all play Dynasty and we all play Redraft, but we got to find some place to play weekly. And the FFPC Weekly Challenge is my favorite. If you're like me and you're tired of the constraints of salary caps or having to do a draft to make a team, or even having to play against these people that are stacking up the same team, stacking up certain games, and you feel like you have to put in 1 million entries or have to have those certain stacks to win, then come play over at FFPC. Really, the only main rule that you have to deal with is that you cannot select multiple players from the same team. I'm going out and I'm trying to find the best of the best of the best players and put them into a lineup. And that's what you can do over at my FFPC. You can go out and you can take the number one running back in Bijan Robinson, and you can also have Saquon Barkley. As long as they're not in the same team, you can put them all into a lineup, right? And there's 4 flexes for this, so there's a lot of flexibility. There's 2 different contests, one that has kickers and defenses, one that's just position players. Then you also have a bunch of different price points you can play at: $35, $100, or $200 buy-in. And you're going out and you're just picking the absolute chalk plays, maybe sneaking in a little bit of a sleeper there, somebody that you think can really blow up that week. And that's how it works. It's one of the best contests out there for the sharpest gamers. And when you win on the FFPC, people take notice. That is where the best high stakes games are. That's where the best experts play. And that's where I play, because I want to be an FFPC champion and put that title on me, put the money in my pocket, and put that in my bio. FFPC champion. And the FFPC weekly contest is the best place to play during the season.
Andrew Cooper from Fantasy Alarm knows his stuff. MyFFPC.com is where you want to go for the FFPC Weekly Challenge. No draft, no salary cap. Pick your players without restriction, except you can't have 2 players on the same team. If you want Christian McCaffrey, you cannot have Jake Tonjes. If you want Cam Scattaboo, you cannot have Jalen Hyatt. That's the kind of thing we're looking for at myffpc.com. $2,500 up at stake in 10, 30, and 100-team leagues. Myffpc.com is where to go for that. We're being joined by Brian Drake tonight from Fantasy Points, SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. Got everything. Sports Keto, Fantasy Points, the FSWA award winner joining us tonight on the show. A guy who is doing stuff for the Fantasy Football Hustle, Fighting Chance Fantasy. It's all out there. The Huddle, obviously, too. And maybe most importantly, as you just pointed out, Brian, the first beer has been cracked tonight for Eagles Giants. What are we drinking?
Look at the size of this thing.
What is that? Is that like a 19 ouncer?
This is I found this at the liquor store here. You mathematicians can break this down for me. 700 ml. So yeah,
700 ml?
This is like it's basically like a 24-ounce can.
700 ml is that's significant. That is hold on. I'm trying to figure this out right now. I'm using
It's a little bigger. It's probably about 20 ounces.
No, it's almost 24, dude.
24. Oh, that's right. The first time.
Yeah, 20. I would say 24 ounces that you're looking at.
Nice.
For that. So we will now get we were getting unfiltered Brian Drake before. Now we will get alcohol induced unfiltered Brian Drake here.
It's only 4.5%
for our Thursday night preview. It's still alcohol. And I guess I'm going to egg you on here a little bit because I've been following your X posts this week. And through, quite frankly, the loss last week for Philly.
Mm-hmm.
What is up with this Eagles offense? I feel like they had something going good with the running game. And yeah, it wasn't great to watch. It wasn't aesthetically pleasing, but they were winning. Then A.J. Brown posts this quote on Instagram or X or whatever it was. And I feel like, I don't want to say like the Eagles just caved to him, but I did notice more of an emphasis on the passing game this past week. And A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, obviously. Devonta Smith had a really good game. A.J. Brown obviously targeted a lot.
Yeah.
But they lost. And that's the thing. It's I go back to whatever it was, week 2, when they were playing the Chiefs and Chris Jones was talking smack to him. And Jalen Hurts was basically like, hey, we won the game. Shut the F up. And I think that's what they need to go back to. Kevin Patullo has no experience, the new OC for the Eagles. Nope. No experience in play calling. And and I'll let you go off on this. This has been a detriment not only to the Eagles, but for fantasy owners as well.
Yeah, and it really should have been brought up more by the national media and fantasy insiders when we were talking about this Eagles offense for this year, because Kevin Patullo has never called plays anywhere. He was Nick Sirianni's buddy when they met up and worked together in Indianapolis, and Sirianni brought him over to Philadelphia when he got the job, I don't know, whatever, 6 years ago or so. So he's always been on the team as sort of an offensive assistant. And now through attrition of several guys getting the job and leaving over the years, it's finally become Kevin Patullo's turn to have this job. Now, mind you, they didn't give Kevin Patullo the job, when they first got there. That was Shane Steichen. who had that job. Then, obviously he gets his situation. He goes off and you move on and we get Brian Johnson, abject failure. Why? He's running the Nick Sirianni offense. The Nick Sirianni game plan and offense is abysmal. It has never worked. Then they go back out and they get Kellen Moore. Oh, guess what? Offense works again. You have a real play caller. Kellen Moore is gone. We're back to that Sirianni offense because you have his yes man, Kevin Patullo, in there. And it's abysmal again. The real problem is the Eagles is they don't layer anything. They're not very good at scheming things up. You watch a lot of their plays. There's not a ton of motion. There's not a lot of guys who are, really being schemed open. There's times, Balkman, you can watch these guys run around out there, and there's players that just aren't running routes. It looks like, remember, did you see the thing of Travis Kelce when he just didn't run a route this past week? There's several times during the games, you'll just see Eagles players just like, and there's only usually at most like 3 guys running a route for Philadelphia. So you've got an offensive line that's worse. You lost Mekhi Becton. Landon Dickerson is a shell of himself. He's inactive tonight. And they have no run game. They lost their fullback on the first kickoff of the season during the game against the Cowboys. So Saquon Barkley obviously is not going to give you the fantasy returns that you had last year if you drafted him top 5 overall. The passing game, they're trying to kind of squeaky wheel it a little bit. And I think tonight they'll get a little something going. But the Giants have a good pass rush themselves. Here's the big issue with the Eagles. And I got to pull the clip from, it was called Flight Night. They do a practice at the link. It was where Devontae Smith is talking to Vic Fangio on the sideline. He goes, Vic, don't zone it up. Let me get some work tonight. And if you've watched this season, when the Eagles, I know everybody this week was talking about the Eagles against the blitz. It's not about Jalen Hurts against the blitz. It's Jalen Hurts against zone. Jalen Hurts is awful against zone coverage. When you make him sit back there and read it, because again, most of the time there's only 3 guys going out in these routes, and he's not getting through his progressions. And that's he's either taken off, getting sacked, or just thrown it away. So watch that tonight. If the Eagles go against a lot of zone from the Giants here, it's difficult for whatever reason for the Eagles to play against zone defense. And will it get better? I don't know. The Eagles are just better than everybody else. They've got a better roster. They got a very good offensive line. They play in a division that isn't very good at this moment. And when all they need, and this is kind of how they play for basically like one shot play. Once they hit it, and it's a 4th down or 3rd or 4th down bomb to like Devontae Smith, and then now they're in business. You get a tush push and all that, but it's been very difficult for the Eagles this year to get those, 15 play drives. You remember last year they had a drive against the Steelers. They literally had the ball for a quarter. They just didn't give the ball back to the Steelers. They're just like, we're going to run the game out right now. And they did. And they don't have that at all right now. And teams are selling out to stop the run, and they're doing a great job of it. Saquon has nowhere to go. Absolutely nowhere to go. He just came through last week for you guys in fantasy because he caught that pass, which at a press conference later, I think Sirianni or Patullo said, that play wasn't even in the playbook. It was kind of a playground play. Like, why isn't that in the playbook? But either way, that's what's going on with the Eagles. Offensive line's a little beat up. People have got film on it. When you win the Super Bowl, people watch a lot of tape on it. They want to mimic what you're doing. They want to try to stop you. And it's working against Philly this year.
What do you think about, and I want to make this a week 5 discussion, but Saquon Barkley, 6 carries last week, which obviously wasn't great.
No.
Do you think he's being underused? He's at 260 plus rushing yards so far through 5 games. Do they need to get him the football more? And more importantly, if that's the case, Brian, do you think it's actually going to happen, which is what we care about as fantasy owners?
Let's get Saquon going in the pass game. Obviously, he's very capable in the open field. If this was me, it's the same story with Travis Hunter. Why aren't we throwing any more screens? Remember when Andy Reid was in Philadelphia? He was a screen merchant, throwing to like my guy, Brian Westbrook, whose jersey I'm wearing tonight. And they don't do that for Saquon Barkley for whatever reason, is they don't try to get him the ball in space. The only time you really see them throwing the ball out to him is, and it drives me crazy. When you ever see a running back go in motion and he just kind of runs in a straight line towards the sideline and everybody in the stadium goes, they're just going to throw it to him. It's just a dump off. But Yeah, let's get Saquon going in space. Let's get him going run to the outside. Anything to the inside is not working. The Eagles' tackles this year are not good. Right now, they're rolling out there with Kevin Steen. Shout out to my wrestling fans out there. They'll get that. So tonight you have Steen and Matt Pryor. So you have a backup and a guy who last year was a backup as your two starting guards. Let's get out and run behind these big, huge tackles that we're paying $1 bazillion to. But other than that, yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's a tough watch for Philly, even though they're winning all these games and they've won, 19 of the last 20. This offense is a tough watch.
Would Kevin Steen be a better tackle if he played under the name Kevin Owens?
You got to look sort of like Kevin Owens.
I do.
Yeah.
My beard's too shaggy. I don't know. But maybe there's something there.
Fight.
This is a question I've gotten from a lot of people this week. And I always say it depends upon the rest of your roster. But to me, this answer is unequivocally yes, if you have the right horses in front of these guys. I do believe, Brian, that you can make a case that A.J. Brown, and I'm benching A.J. Brown in at least one of my leagues tonight.
Ooh.
A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith are benchable. And I'll tell you right now, in the one league that I have I shouldn't say I have him in a bunch of leagues, but the one league I'm sitting him in, I'm playing Devon Achane, Travis Etienne, Ashton Genty, Cortland Sutton, Debo Samuel, and Puka Nacua. I'm playing all those guys in that one league over A.J. Brown. I feel much better about those other 6 guys than I do about A.J. Brown tonight.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all when you look at what A.J. Brown's doing. And I want to see here. Let's see. This is through 5 weeks.
Yep.
A.J. Brown, so he really fell off. Coming into last week, he was number 2 in the NFL in target percentage. He's dropped down to 12th. He's still seeing on the season 25% target share, which is great. He's seen 7 targets a game. That's not bad. Is it where maybe we'd like it to be? You see Justin Jefferson's over 8, Garrett Wilson's at 9. We'd like to see that up a little bit, but he's still an electric player. I think Philadelphia sort of kind of figures it out. Here's my dream, and this is not helping anybody. I'm hoping that Mike McDaniel, when he gets fired in about 20 minutes, becomes an offensive assistant for Philadelphia.
For Philly. Just like didn't they do that with Fangio?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they did that in the Super Bowl a few years ago.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to bring this up to bring this home here. David on YouTube. What a great YouTube name. David, we appreciate you, and I'm not ripping on you. That's fantastic. He has to bench one of these players. I'm assuming the way I'm reading this question.
Wow.
George Pickens, who is at Carolina this week, Ted McMillan, who's obviously hosting the Cowboys, and then A.J. Brown tonight at MetLife Stadium. Brian, I'm benching A.J. Brown. I'd rather play Pickens and McMillan this week.
I think we're going to get an A.J. Brown game tonight. I think he's going to score. I think he's going to have a good night. I would sit George Pickens. Remember, Pickens only caught 2 balls last week. And whoever this Flournoy guy is, he was delivering my mail a week ago. And he's getting touches out there. George Pickens doesn't command the football, okay? And he can be easily phased out. Carolina, actually, for being a garbage team, their points against for wide receivers are very, very low because teams don't have to throw on them. You can run fairly easy against them. So it wouldn't shock me at all if this is a Turd Ferguson game, if Flournoy, if whoever gets going for the Cowboys. And I think the Cowboys get out and win that game, which means garbage time. Ted McMillan throwing the ball out in the second half. Cowboys corners are insanely overrated. You can throw on them. If it's me, I'm going Brown and McMillan.
Ironically,
I should have done that in my my old Southern gentleman voice.
Well, you could do that. You could still do that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like with Flournoy, ironic that he was delivering your mail last week because he majored in postal services management from Southeast Missouri State. So
is that a real thing?
No, I 100% made that up, but it sounded believable, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
It sounded believable.
I told we were doing the Sunday night show with me and Hanson, and I just like Googled whoever the hell this guy was, and like 3 colleges came up for him.
Yeah.
I'm like, have you? So I had to ask John. I'm like, John, have you ever heard of this guy? He's like, no, not a chance. And then I'm like, do you know where he went to college? And he went to 3 of them. And it's like East, West, Missouri Tech.
Here's what it was: Central Missouri, Iowa Western Community College,
Holy smokes.
and Southeast Missouri State. So he's in like the Corn Belt, essentially, is where he went. And he wasn't an UDFA. He was a 6th round pick last year, too.
See, that would be like, I always remember like Selection Sunday and Bryant Gumbel. And he's like, this team with the automatic bid from the Corn Belt.
Right.
You know, and it's like Southwest Missouri State, the Barnstormers or whatever their name is. And you see the picture of the guys are going crazy, and then it's like they're going to play Duke in the first round.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, and then they're up 10-8, and then they lose by 40.
Yeah,
but
Saquon, giant run the first play, 30-yard run to start things off.
So I'm gonna tell you this right now. You are ahead of me.
Okay,
and this is not the first time this has happened. John Arrington was on the show last week, and he was ahead of me as well. So I will check to you in regards to what plays are going on, because I'm just seeing the kickoff here, narrowly missing a Philadelphia Eagles return man. And you can give us what's going on here.
It's a lot of Saquon Barkley, and it's a lot of good things if you've got him on your team.
Okay, there you go.
He's doing well. We'll leave it at that.
All right. So
now he's jogging off the field already. I think he's got maybe I think something happened to his shoulder pads.
Not his shoulder.
Yeah, no. He's like pointing to his shoulder. I think the when you put your shoulder pads on and there's like that cord. I think because he was playing with it, I think the cord popped or something under. So it's an equipment issue.
All right. So I have it right now. Barkley for 18 and then Barkley for 13 right off the bat.
Boom.
So the Eagles have run 2 plays, 31 yards already for Barkley, which is good.
Interesting nugget here. I want to get your thoughts on this because I always do this before the Thursday night game. If the handcuff is out there, I pick him up, and I added a lot of Will Shipley to season-long teams. And Barkley's out now getting his shoulder pads adjusted, and A.J. Dillon is in the game.
All right.
Hurts.
So here's a few things I want to say on that whole situation. And I want to get your thoughts on this too. The Eagles made a trade, and Howie Roseman has made a lot of great trades over the last several years. He made the trade for Tank Bigsby.
Mm-hmm.
And Bigsby has basically been a special teams guy, which is weird because I thought
not a good one.
I don't know that. I don't know how he's been on special teams, but I thought that was weird. I had the privilege of, and AJ Dillon's been on my local radio show here in not in Green Bay, but in Appleton, which is just south of Green Bay. And he's a great guy, but I never really thought he was all that great of a difference maker in fantasy football or in the NFL at all.
Mm-hmm.
So when he signed with the Eagles and then the Eagles make the move to trade for Bigsby as well, I was kind of like, I don't see the upside with either one of these players, but I do see the upside with Will Shipley. And I still have Shipley. I haven't cut him. I still got him on a boatload of teams. God forbid, I have wood in front of me. I'm going to knock on wood. If Barkley were to ever miss any time, I think Shipley's the guy you want to own.
Yeah. Eagles are going to kick a field goal here. But yeah, I think you're right. And that Bigsby thing was very curious. That was in a time when Will Shipley was returning their kickoffs. And I think Howie Roseman, trying to be, the smartest guy in the room, is looking at it and going, hey, listen, these kickoff returns are going to be a big deal in the NFL this year. Like, we need to have a weapon back there to return kicks. And that's why they traded like a 5th and a 6th to get Bigsby. 3-0 Eagles, just under 12 minutes into the first quarter. I feel like a guy doing morning radio.
Yeah.
10 before the hour.
All right, we got 11:59 to go in the first quarter. We got the Eagles up 3-0 here as the Giants will catch the football here when we come back. Don't go anywhere. We got messages coming up from Smith's Jewelers and Bunce Cakes coming up right here on W whatever.
It's like Tradio.
Yeah, Tradio. Oh, Tradio.
Do you guys have Tradio out?
Oh, yes, we do. Yeah, because I went to I want to make it seem like I'm bragging here, but I was a double major in college, and one of my majors was radio, TV, film, and I did an interview in Sturgeon Bay, which is probably a little bit north of Green Bay, Wisconsin here, and it's not a big town.
I can imagine, with the name of Sturgeon Bay.
Sturgeon Bay, yeah. And so they had me in for an interview, and one of the big things they do is TreVeyon on Saturday mornings.
Oh
where
my God, Richard and Sal are calling those guys left and right.
Exactly, yeah. And so I'm doing these weird news reports on cattle and all this other stuff, and I'm like, and then I'm doing TreVeyon on Saturday mornings. I'm like, I don't think I can do this long term, and it would have been like a significant move for me. So I just said thanks, but no thanks. And now I'm talking about fantasy football on a Thursday night on to the Nation, which is great with Brian Drake.
Maybe I can add that. I've got enough time to add another job.
No, don't do TreVeyon.
Now I'll do like, hey, I'm selling some cattle over here, and I got any of you folks who are Howard Stern fans have heard Richard and Sal just torture the TreVeyon folks.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't, after the show today, go on YouTube and just search Richard and Sal TreVeyon or Howard Stern TreVeyon, and you can hear the madness that these guys drop on the TreVeyon folks. People listen to that, huh?
They do, yeah, 100%, because there's not a whole lot else going on. And I apologize to anybody who is watching us from Sturgeon Bay tonight, but there's not a whole lot else going on up there. So this is a huge thing. In fact, when I told some of my friends about that, I was thinking about taking this job in Sturgeon Bay, the first thing they said, "Oh, you're going to be on the TreVeyon show on Saturday," not trade, whatever they called it, like the barter, whatever it was. "Oh, you're going to be on this on Saturday morning." I'm like, "No,
they're on Swap Shop, eh?"
Swap Shop. Yeah, I cannot be known for this. I'm 100% out, and I was.
If anyone listening to this right now is actually from Sturgeon Bay, and you can send me your license that proves that, I will get you access to Fantasy Points data for free.
Right, there you go. Oh my God, this is great. This is fantastic. All my Sturgeon Bay people, chime in right now and let us know if you're from Sturgeon Bay on the chat and can prove it. We talked about the Eagles. I want to talk about the Giants. Jackson Dart is an exciting player.
Yeah.
And certainly 2 weeks ago was a lot of fun. Last week, maybe not so much.
Terrible haircut.
Tonight, there was as long as you bring this up, Brian, there was God, who was the quarterback for the Broncos that they drafted in the first round? He was a horrible bust. This is going to irritate.
Tim Tebow? I don't know.
No. It was after Tebow. It was oh God, who was it? Not Brock Osweiler.
Oh, I remember Osweiler too.
Yeah, no. This
the Brock Ness monster.
The Brock Ness monster. This is gonna. I'll look it up in a second.
Okay, I'm thinking of old terrible.
No, he wasn't.
Brian Greasy.
No. This guy was drafted definitely within the last 10 years, maybe within the last 5.
Oh wow!
But he was doing a press conference, and he was wearing this weird, the garb that he chose was awful. And somebody posted a thing on X that said, "What's your biggest question?" And chat room, by the way, help us out on this. What's your biggest question about whatever quarterback this was for Denver? And somebody responded, a judgment, something to that effect, because he clearly couldn't judge what was the best clothes to wear. It was awful. He just looked like a total tool, and he was a massive bust. God, I wish I could remember his name. I'm going to look that up in a second.
Eagles just dropped an interception on Dart's first throw, by the way. But
okay, so this is a good Dart conversation.
He was throwing to Theo Johnson, who is going to lead this team in receiving this year.
Oh, this year! Oh my God, was that Jakobi Dean? Who was that?
Was Jalix Hunt, our defensive end.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's why he's a defensive end and not a linebacker. So you mentioned Theo Johnson. He's going to lead the team in this year. That's who's going to step up over Neighbors, over Darius.
Hang on. What the hell is that?
I don't know. It's not coming on my end. I didn't know.
Oh, that was just a crazy ad that popped up here on Fantasy Pros. Shout out to my Fantasy Pros friends.
Shout out Fantasy Pros. Absolutely.
Sorry.
So you were of the opinion that the guy you want to get, the pass catcher you want to get for the Giants right now, with no Neighbors, no Slayton, is one Theo Johnson.
As little Jordan Humphrey just catches a 40-yard pass down the field. Yeah, absolutely. And anytime you can pick on Keely Ringo, you have to do it. Theo Johnson is so good for this team. He's big, 6'6", 260 pounds. He's a tight end, but he's going to play a ton of slot. He's running routes on nearly, every time they have the football. They don't have Malik Neighbors anymore. Darius Slayton just went down with a hamstring injury. Wanda Robinson's 3 feet tall. So yeah, why not throw the ball to the biggest guy on the field? And I have no doubt in my mind that Theo Johnson's going to lead this team in receiving the rest of the way. I mean, who else is going to do it? Was it little Jordan Humphrey here or Wandale? No way.
Little Jordan Humphrey, that was a good catch that he made too. As
Ringo. At some point this year, the Eagles will make a trade for an outside corner. Losing as Jackson Dart avoids a sack and misses Wandale Robinson for a walk-in touchdown. So yeah, the Eagles will make a move for a corner at some point this year. You can't roll with Adoree Jackson and Keila Ringo out there. And you know who a lot of people are talking about who's still unsigned because he was injured is Asante Samuel Jr.
Yeah.
Who's still out there. I'm sure someone's going to want to bring him into camp, but
I thought Green Bay was looking at him because they still have Nate Hobbs in the concussion protocol for like 3 consecutive weeks here. So they need some help.
Got to be a situation where if he's not signed yet, he's not physically ready to play.
I would imagine that's the case because you can never have enough good corners for sure. By the way, Brian, that quarterback for Denver, I was trying to remember Paxton Lynch.
Oh, yeah. Jackson Dart rushing touchdown.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Just ran through everybody for 20 yards. And that's what Jackson Dart can bring to you in fantasy. And that's why I said to people 2-3 weeks ago, you have to pick this kid up. Even if you don't start him, he's literally Tim Tebow with a better arm. That's the offense they're running for him. He has no idea what to do when he drops back. None. And I know people loved him at Ole Miss. And my guy, Brett Whitefield at Fantasy Points had him as his #1 quarterback coming out. When Jackson Dart drops back in the pocket, he does not know what he's looking at. And I'm no film bro. I'm not breaking down the X's and O's, but you can just see it. He drops back and it's a deer in the headlights. And that's why he takes off and runs all the time. And which he did right there. But in fantasy, that's great.
It is great. It is 100%. It's great. But don't you think that field recognition is going to come with time? With Tebow, I was unconvinced, and I was right, that it never came.
Like Tebow is severely inaccurate. Jackson Dart's not. Jackson Dart can put the football where he needs to put it.
That's my point, is like once he gets ingratiated to this offense and the NFL more, I think that his upside is much higher than Tebow's. Even if you're talking about athletically speaking, I don't think he's as good as Tebow was athletically, but I think his ceiling as an NFL quarterback is higher.
Jackson Dart next year gets drafted as a top 7 quarterback in fantasy.
Wow, that is aggressive. I don't know if I would be on that train.
People, you watch in the FFPC, these guys are going to be drafting them. Guys were just waiting a little bit. Like, all right, and I'll take Jackson Dart with that rushing upside. You want to get the dual threat guys. Yeah. He'll be like the last of the dual threat guys to go off the board.
The other thing to consider too is, and I always poo-poo this, and I will poo-poo it the rest of the season. He's not going to have neighbors at all in 2025, but he should have neighbors for all of 2026 or close to all.
And somebody, and hopefully a better coach. And then they'll get another receiver.
You're in New York. You would know better than me. I don't know what pictures that Dayball and Schoen have of Mara. I don't know how these guys continue to have jobs right now, but they do.
The Giants ownership, and again, hey, shout out to the Giants owner there. Was that Mr. Mara, who's got he's battling cancer right now. Hope the best for him.
Wish nothing but the best for him. Absolutely.
Exactly. But as an owner, he's a complete pushover. And he gets hoodwinked by Schoen and by Dayball. And listen, you let these two guys select Jackson Dart. So now whoever you go out and get as the coach next year is saddled with Dart. Maybe they don't love Dart. Maybe Dart doesn't fit their offense. Well, so sad, too bad. Dart's the guy in New York for the next few years. You spent the pick on him. So again, it's just, if you're going to get rid of Dayball and them, get rid of them last year. If you know you're going to take a quarterback. But again, it's not a well-run organization at all. The roster's terrible, but if you've got Dart and you've got Malik Neighbors, you can cover a lot of sins because, Dart's really fun to watch. I mean, you just saw him juke Zach Bond out of his shorts. That guy's a all-pro linebacker.
Brian, do you think that the injury to Neighbors preserves the jobs of Abel and Schoen another year?
I hope not. Well, actually, no, I'm an Eagles fan. I hope it does. Let him coach there forever. But for fantasy, I mean, listen, Brian Daboll got that job because of Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Any idiot could have coached Josh Allen. As we see what's going on, in Buffalo. I got a lot of Buffalo fans who hate the Bills the Bills coaches. And I don't know what he ever did before that, and he hasn't done anything since then to show that he's some sort of offensive genius. His offenses have been terrible in New York, even just in terms of scheming. And you could be in a really bad team, which the Giants are, but if you've got an innovative play caller, like, you can make things work. You can be fun, and you can, matriculate the ball down the field. The Giants didn't do any of that.
You know what would be fun, and I don't have a name in mind, but some, they fire Daboll, whatever, and they hire a new head coach who's maybe a defensive minded coach. I don't know who that would be, but you hired Mike McDaniel as your offensive coordinator.
He's going to get an OC job, no question.
With
Sit in the booth
and Neighbors and Scadaboo, that'd be awesome. That'd be so much fun if that happens next year.
This Giants defensive line, I argued could be one of the 3 best in football with the talent that they've got out there. It's unbelievable. The horses that they can run at you.
Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns. Who am I forgetting here? Lawrence is not on that team anymore, right?
No, there's Burns. See him. They just wrapped Saquon up. Now, this is typical Eagles here. Always in 3rd and long.
Which is, for the way that they've been running their offense this year, that's a death knell. You want to be in 3rd and 2 every single time because it's going to be a first down with the tush push.
Tush push, yeah. So typically what they do in these situations when it's 3rd and long, the Eagles love to just have Hurts drop back and just try to throw a deep pass to Devonta Smith or somebody like that. It's never at the sticks. It's always, and he gets sacked. So yeah, there's Brian Burns showing up right there. So this great Giants defensive line is really coming to play tonight against, the Eagles, who are, less than 100% up front.
Mm-hmm. I think that we're going to see some fireworks here in the last half hour of the show. I'm going to step out, take our last break here. Brian Drake, Fantasy Point, Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Of course, you know him from Sports Kita, Fantasy Pros, the Huddle, everything that he's doing right now for fantasy. He is dispensing on the show tonight. When we come back, we're going to do some starter sits. We'll talk more about Derrick Henry. I want to get into Kendre Miller, obviously AJ Barner, and if there's time, maybe a defense question as well.
Ooh.
You're watching FFPC Insider Access here live on the Better Sports Network. He's Brian Drake. I'm Eric Balkman. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Folks, let me talk to you about my favorite weekly platform to play on. We all play Dynasty and we all play Redraft, but we got to find some place to play weekly. And the FFPC Weekly Challenge is my favorite. If you're like me and you're tired of the constraints of salary caps or having to do a draft to make a team, or even having to play against these people that are stacking up the same team, stacking up certain games, and you feel like you have to put in 1 million entries or have to have those certain stacks to win, then come play over at FFPC. Really, the only main rule that you have to deal with is that you cannot select multiple players from the same team. I'm going out and I'm trying to find the best of the best of the best players and put them into a lineup. And that's what you can do over at my FFPC. You can go out and you can take the number 1 running back in Bijan Robinson, and you can also have Saquon Barkley. As long as they're not in the same team, you can put them all into a lineup, right? And there's 4 flexes for this, so there's a lot of flexibility. There's 2 different contests, one that has kickers and defenses, one that's just position players. Then you also have a bunch of different price points you can play at: $35, $100, or $200 buy-in. And you're going out and you're just picking the absolute chalk plays, maybe sneaking in a little bit of a sleeper there, somebody that you think can really blow up that week. And that's how it works. It's one of the best contests out there for the sharpest gamers. And when you win on the FFPC, people take notice. That is where the best high stakes games are. That's where the best experts play. And that's where I play, because I want to be an FFPC champion and put that title on me, put the money in my pocket and put that in my bio, FFPC champion. And the FFPC weekly contest is the best place to play during the season.
Andrew Cooper from Fantasy Alarm giving his stamp of approval on the FFPC Weekly Challenge. No draft, no salary cap. Just pick the 10 or 12 players that you want. Win up to $2,500, 10, 30, 100-team contest, only one player per NFL team. So if you want Patrick Mahomes, you can't have Travis Kelce. If you want Trevor Lawrence, you cannot have Travis Etienne. MyFFPC.com is ready to go. MyFFPC.com. We're joined tonight by Brian Drake from Fantasy Points, SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, Sportskeeda, The Huddle, Fantasy Pros, everything that he's got going on this year as well. I'm sure I'm forgetting a few. 6:27 to go in the first quarter. The Giants leading the Eagles here on Thursday Night Football, Fantasy Football Night in America on the FFPC Insider Access, 2nd and 9. For the Giants on the
Giants are scrappy tonight here. They're looking
Are
good.
they scrappy? I like, and I'll be honest with you. Every time I see 26 run for the Giants,
Giants just scored again.
I know it's Singletary, but it looks like Barkley. They just got a touchdown.
Wan'Dale Robinson touchdown reception.
Oh my God, this is great for me in so many leagues, which is fantastic. That had to be a long one, right?
About 36 yards. Jackson Dart collects the snap, avoids 3 sacks in the backfield. Should have been taken down. Rolls out to his right, throws to Wan'Dale Robinson, who breaks a tackle and goes down the sideline untouched into the end zone.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now. You're right. Expertly avoiding the rush, escapes, and it was just looked like an out. It was a bad tackle. I don't. Was that Quinyon Mitchell? Who's 24 for Philly, Brian?
It was 20. Mitchell's, I believe, 27.
Oh, 27. Okay, I don't know who that was then.
20. I
thought it was 24.
Extra point was missed, by the way.
Jesus.
This is a good thing for Philly, though. It's going to force them to throw the football because now they've got to move. They got to get in the game here. They got to get
all y'all that started Brown and Smith tonight and Goddard. That's a good thing. It was 24. I don't know who 24 is for the Eagles. I'm looking it up right now. But in any event, you said the extra point was.
I think that's the kid we got from the Raiders.
From the Raiders?
Yeah.
Okay. It is. This is great. Everybody watching this is going nuts. Andrew Makuba.
Oh, Makuba. He's a 2nd-round pick.
Yeah. From
Texas.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was 24. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. So he ends up missing the tackle, which, I mean, maybe the Giants would have scored anyway, but Wan'Dale Robinson runs it in, and it is now 13-3 after the missed extra point here on Thursday Night Football. 5:37 to go in the first quarter. We'll see what the Eagles do.
I just bought tickets to Eagles-Giants in Philly in 2 weeks, and, boy, you could have some angry fans here.
Which is always good for a Philadelphia game. My buddy Dave, you know Terp, obviously, right? Dave Terp.
Yeah. Does he go to the games?
Yeah, he does.
I'll have to meet up with him.
And he said that, we were talking about Packers-Eagles playoff games and Packers-Eagles games at the Vet. Is it still the Vet? What is it right now?
Well, it's Lincoln Financial Field.
The Link. Yeah, sorry. Not the Vet. And he said, listen, if you come out and visit me and we go to a game, don't wear any Packer stuff. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And he's like, listen, I'll protect you. But if you put Packer stuff on, there's nothing I can do. And I'm like, all right, I think I'm good. I don't need I need to come out there.
It's sad to say with, the state of our country is that you can't go to a game. And I live in upstate New York, so I've gone to Bills games.
Yeah.
And listen, Bills fans are a bunch of white trash degenerates too, just like us Eagles fans. But it's not as bad. Like you fear for your life. In Philadelphia, I would never wear an opposing team's gear. No, I've seen beers get thrown at kids, at women. It's terrible. It's like I'm bringing my son to his first ever game, and like, really, as much as we all love the NFL and it's a great TV product, it's a terrible in-person product. There's a big problem. Everybody's hammered as I sit here and drink a beer on a show, but everyone's drunk. Everyone's swearing. Everyone's looking to fight. It's not a great in-person experience.
Yeah. Let's give Jake on YouTube a good in-person experience tonight. As
Please.
He asks us in standard scoring, he's got to pick between George Pickens and Drake London. Okay. So Pickens, we obviously know this week is at Carolina. Drake London is at home against said Bills. These are both excellent matchups. I would love to play both of them. If I had to pick between the two, I think I like London a little bit better, but I think ask me tomorrow, I might say Pickens, Brian.
Yeah, it's the same thing that I just said, is that Pickens doesn't command targets and Drake London does. So Drake London's going to probably see 10 targets in this game, especially if Buffalo can run away and hide from them. So to me, this one's pretty easy. By the way, Jake, what is this, 1994? You're a standard
scoring. No, yeah.
People send me questions like, Drake, question for you. 8-team league. What should I do? I go, get more friends.
I still remember one of the first leagues I ever joined was you started 2 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, 3 receivers, and a tight end, a kicker, and a defense. And you could have a backup at each position, but you couldn't have more than that, right?
Oh, I hate those leagues.
And it was only touchdowns. Yardage had nothing to do with it. It was
you could win 1-0.
Yeah,
in a week.
It was awful. But it was. I mean, like this was like the early '90s or mid '90s or whatever it was, and we didn't know any better. We do know better now, and for Bugs Bunny on YouTube right now, they want to know about a potential trade here, as Jalen Hurts can't find AJ Brown.
He got him on the next play. Don't worry.
I got him on the next play. Okay, I forgot who I'm dealing with here tonight. Bugs Bunny wants to know, Brian, should Bugs Bunny trade Josh Jacobs, Keenan Allen, and George Pickens in exchange for Bucky, Irving, and Justin Jefferson?
Funny story. I own a rabbit.
Okay.
I do own a pet rabbit named Benny. So let's see. So you're gonna trade. By the way, what are you drinking?
I had a Pig Mines, which is out of McChesney Park, Illinois. A Pig Mines West Coast IPA.
Oh, okay.
I have switched to Falling Knife, which is a brewery out of Minneapolis. There's Summer's End, which is an Oktoberfest Märzen, and that's what I'm drinking.
Wow. Oh, very nice. I like that. Yeah, we got to hang out. All right. Let's go back to what people are asking us. Should I trade Josh Jacobs? I don't love that. Keenan Allen, who's been great, but how long does this ride last? And George Pickens for an injured Bucky Irving, who's out 3 more weeks. And Justin Jefferson, who's on bye this week, correct?
Yep.
I'm not making that trade today. I mean, none of these guys help you.
I always like getting the best player in the deal, which in this case I think is Jefferson. And so you kind of got to suss out your own team needs for this week, because I would rather not acquire Jefferson and then promptly sit him in week 6. So if you can avoid it and revisit this next week, players will have different values. But right now, I don't think I would make the deal here. As
you can't play either guy. I'm watching here. Goddard's doing okay. Oh, they're showing Kevin Petula. I just tweeted out, I wouldn't hire Kevin Petula to cut my grass.
Well, I would do that. I mean, the guy's going to need work eventually.
I used to work at a golf course. I'm very particular about my grass.
Okay, well, I'd hire him to shovel snow. That'd be fine.
I have a great snowblower. If you ever want a snowblower, you get that orange Aaron's ones. Oh, the best.
We have
Devontae Smith inside the 5. Let's go.
We have another Goddard catch down to the 12 for 4 yards, and then Goddard gets us where? Did you say?
Devontae Smith inside the 5.
Inside the 5. Okay, so this could be Barkley territory, as we see the genius Kevin Petullo on my screen right now, at least. Yeah, it was an 8-yard catch for Devonta Smith.
What do you make of offensive coordinators, play callers on the sideline versus up in the booth?
I've never had – I think that's more of a feel thing. Mm-hmm. I know that when offenses and defenses are struggling, there is pressure for them to switch whatever they're doing from the booth down to the field or from the field to the booth. I've never really had there's a lot of people in Green Bay, as Troy Aikman calls it, that believe that the coordinator should be on the field, that they get a better handle on the game. But I don't know if there's any data behind that at all.
Interesting.
Yeah. 3 minutes to go. 1st and goal for the Eagles here in the first quarter.
Spoiler alert, they don't score on this play.
Okay, perfect. Let's do this. We'll go rapid fire on this because we only got about 15 minutes left in the show.
All right.
Starter sit. We'll go with a running back question here first. Zach Charbonnet.
Wow, we're digging.
Yeah, we are digging. Zach Charbonnet, or he's at Jacksonville this week.
What the hell was that? Oh, sorry. We got an Eagles touchdown, but it was the ugliest thing you've ever seen in your life.
Well, who scored it?
Dallas Goedert.
Touchdown. Goddard. All right, perfect. Got him in a couple of
Wait till you see this disaster. What the hell was this?
Jalen Hurts threw it, right?
Underhand. Watch
Okay,
this.
well-
Okay, it's got to be coming up on your screen right now.
Not yet. They're still in the huddle. It's going to be a little bit. So Zach Charbonnet or Kareem Hunt is the other one, Brian. Kareem Hunt, who's at home on Sunday Night Football against the Detroit Lions. Which one would you rather play between Charbonnet and Hunt?
You know, it's funny. I actually started Zach Charbonnet in a league last week just because Ken Walker is not getting the goal line work. He's simply not. They're subbing him out. So if you're in a pinch, you could play Charbonnet. In this role, though, I like Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt, a couple touchdowns last week. We can talk all we want about Brashard Smith. He's not getting the football. The guy played like 6 snaps. I would take Kareem Hunt here.
I think you are right based on the usage I saw last week. I think I'm rolling with Hunt over Charbonnet, but it's a sliding scale. One more running back question here before we get to wide receivers.
Did you see the play yet?
I did. It was messed up. I don't know how they didn't tackle him before the goal line. He stood there for what felt like about 3 seconds at like the 3 before he finally plunged in.
He looked like Giancarlo Stanton in the batter's box, just like standing there like a cigar store Indian.
13-10 now as Hunt passes to Goddard for roughly a 3-yard touchdown, and Goddard with the little jump shot over the goalpost or over the crossbar to make this an entertaining first quarter for sure.
Hey, my pros versus Joe's team. I've got 2 touchdowns for Dart, and I got 1 for Hurts already. Let's go.
There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with starting RJ Harvey this week unless you have Kendre Miller, who has been carving a role in this Saints offense over Alvin Kamara? Kendre Miller is at home against the Patriots. RJ Harvey is in London against the Jets.
Yeah, I'm going Kendre Miller here. Kendre Miller's a guy who could get 10 carries in this game. We don't necessarily know if RJ Harvey gets to work. It's this Jekyll and Hyde, Sean Payton thing. I never trust Sean Payton with my fantasy players at all. Kendre Miller at least has a role. It's as a backup kind of, he's a second string running back. He spells Kamara, but he gets some work. Listen, are you shooting for the moon with either of these guys? Absolutely not. But Kendre Miller could get a touchdown. I think, you could get a goal line play where Kendre Miller scores.
He definitely. And the other thing too is I don't know what the trade situation is like in New Orleans. I don't think Kamara gets traded.
I don't think he wants to get traded.
He definitely does not want to, 100%. But if the Saints are forward thinking enough to do it, wouldn't you think that they'd want to get Kendre Miller some more reps, some more experience? I don't know. Maybe I'm picking at nits here. It's certainly a possibility that Kendre Miller is as featured as he is now in the offense, could be even more featured a couple of weeks from now. And maybe we're starting to see a changing of the guard.
What's funny is I look at the usage on Kendre Miller. He still only played 26% of the snaps.
Wow.
On the season.
So when he's out there, he's getting the ball.
He has 28% of the. Let me move this up here. Shout out to Dwayne, who got me a free access to Fantasy Life, so I can play with these things on shows. So let's go weeks 4 and 5. The story gets better for Kendre Miller the last few weeks. Still very much being outshined by Alvin Kamara, 63% of the snaps to 37% snaps. But here's where the story changes. In terms of rushing attempts the last 2 weeks, 39% Kamara, 34% Kendre Miller.
That's interesting.
But Kendre Miller does nothing in the pass game.
Well, for now. I mean,
for now.
Yeah, and things can change. Speaking of the passing game, I want to shift to another, maybe more pressing concern for some fantasy players out there in the FFPC. DK Metcalf or Jakobi Meyers this week, Brian. DK Metcalf is at home against the Browns, and obviously Jakobi Meyers sans Brock Bowers, we assume, at home against the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I'm going to go with DK Metcalf here. Listen, it's not the prettiest in the world, but he's kind of the only game in town here. And while he's not setting the world on fire, Jakobi Meyers, probably without Brock Bowers this week.
Yep.
This is a terrible offensive line. I've never been a Geno guy. Let's go with the better quarterback here. And obviously that's Aaron Rodgers in this situation. Like, this doesn't have to be that hard. DK Metcalf is a better player than Jakobi Meyers. Like, let's just let's not make this too difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you are a massive favorite, maybe it makes more sense to go with Meyers here. But I think in a vacuum, and for most fantasy players, I think you want to go with the upside, and the upside definitely is with DK Metcalf this week. And Trey Tucker's been stepping up too. So it's not like Jacoby Meyers is getting everything.
They're finally throwing the ball to Ashton Genty the last 2 weeks.
That's another good point.
That's huge. Genty's role has really grown the last 2 weeks to the point where you can say, like, okay, now he's a guy that, like, is worthy of that first round consideration. I took him in the first round in several leagues. And after the first 2 weeks, I'm like, oh, geez Louise, what did I do?
Yeah.
But the last 2 weeks, he's been pretty good.
Who would you rather own in Dynasty going forward, Hampton or Genty, Brian?
Probably Hampton.
Hampton over Genty because of the offense, or what?
Yeah, better coach, better quarterback.
Okay.
You could say better. Oh my God, the Eagles forced a punt. So yeah, I would probably go Hampton, and it's close. I mean, Genty's so good, and they're going to figure things out. And I mean, it's a very short period of time that Pete Carroll is going to be there. He's probably the coach there, another year or two, and then they'll get rid of. You should have got. They never should have brought Geno in. Geno Smith is terrible. All these the tape bros out there. You gotta watch the tape on Geno. You gave up a 3rd-round pick for him. You're one of the worst teams in the league. You don't think that 3rd-round pick could have helped you somewhere else on your roster? Your team sucks anyways with Geno. You could have had Favre out there from Super Troopers that you had last year playing quarterback. You'd be in the same spot.
Super Troopers 3 just wrapped shooting, by the way. Very excited to see when that comes.
I've heard about that. And this is what it's a leader of Surfside.
Yes. I will say this regarding Geno Smith. I don't necessarily fault the Raiders to do what they did because this is a quarterback-hungry league. There are not 32 people walking this planet that can play quarterback in the NFL.
There's not 20.
Probably not 20 either. There's
they had to sell it to their fans.
That's
all that was.
I did not think he was going to be this bad. I thought there was more to Geno Smith than what we've seen so far this year. And this is coming from a guy, by the way, who has started Geno Smith in various leagues 3 consecutive weeks because of injuries, because of bye weeks, and I've been supremely disappointed.
Those IPAs are hitting you hard on Sunday morning.
Yeah, well, I need to hit them harder after I start Geno Smith. It's even worse.
Honest question. Who would you rather have start for the Raiders? Geno Smith or present-day Tom Brady? It's taking you this long to say Tom Brady?
Just hang on. Just give me how old is he now? 47, 46?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter. It does. Because that offensive line, dude, you gotta be.
Oh, true. That offensive line's terrible.
I'm still gonna say Geno Smith, but the fact that it takes me this long, I mean, I don't know. And maybe I'll tell you this: Tom Brady probably throws fewer picks, right?
Oh, absolutely.
He probably checks it down more, but he throws fewer
carving
picks.
Teams up back there. You never get close to him.
Brady, for the second half of his career in New England, lived in the first 10 yards after the line of scrimmage. And
Jacoby Meyers would be the number 1 player in fantasy.
Yeah, absolutely.
If Tom Brady was the quarterback of that team.
Yeah. And Trey Tucker and Dante Thornton would never see the football.
No, they wouldn't even play. Just run and win sprints.
Just run. Yeah. Cardio Thornton, cardio Tucker. DJ Moore this week is on Monday Night Football at 8:15 against the Washington Commanders in our nation's capital. Would you play him over Calvin Ridley in Las Vegas against said Raiders?
Oh, man. You know what? And this is a lot of BS that we hear. You know, it's probably just guys on podcasts like us that are like, after the bye, the Bears are gonna get Colson Loveland and Luther Burden more involved. Like, we don't know that. We're not the coach. We can wish cast that and think about it, but I'm gonna go Calvin Ridley here just because there's too many mouths to feed. I didn't invest in any Bears really, and Roma Dunze is making me look foolish on that. But Calvin Ridley, he looked good last week. He looked like the player we thought Calvin Ridley was going to be, and he was going to see a bunch of targets on a really terrible team. So if it's me, I'm going to go to Ridley.
The total in that Titans game,
11 points.
It's 41.5. The total in that Bears Commanders game, as I mentioned earlier, is at 49.5. I think I lean more towards more because fantasy football is supposed to be fun. and it will be fun watching that Bears-Commanders game as the final game of the week. And I know
that game's going to end 17-13.
I don't think it will.
Everyone's going to hate life.
I don't think it will. Yeah, listen.
Because I start Jaden Daniels in too many leagues, and he stinks.
Non-zero chance of anything. But I don't see a 17-13 final in that game. And this is horrible analysis. And I'll say, like, well, you know, I would rather start more because of the drama and the fun of watching it. But it's close between those two. And that's
It's very close. That's the problem with fantasy is people come to us and they're like, hey, who would you start, Calvin Moore, DJ Ridley? I mean, folks, I'm not the peek behind the curtain here. This is a coin flip between these two guys. They're in the same tier. Their projection is probably almost similar. You know, I can look up and see what we have here at fantasy points for these two guys this week for projection. They're literally right next to each other.
Yeah.
DJ Moore is 37th, 10.7 points. And then we have at the exact same 10.7 points, Calvin Ridley.
The tight end position is always a fun one to discuss, and I want to open it up with AJ Barner or Evan Engram. Barner is a player that I had picked up in one of my leagues.
Nice.
Brian, you'll appreciate this. I have George Kittle and Brenton Strange on that team, so I needed a tight end.
Now I know why you drink.
Yeah, exactly. So I got Barner on that team, but if somebody else was facing the decision between one AJ Barner for the Seattle Seahawks who was facing the Jacksonville Jaguars in Florida this week, would you play him over Evan Engram in London against the New York Jets?
I know Engram scored last week.
Yep.
You know, so that really hypes everybody up. AJ Barner, though, is getting a ton of work. And nobody wants it because AJ Barner came out, he was like this blocking tight end, so nobody thought he was going to really do much of anything as a receiver. But, I mean, he's got, you know, the last 2 weeks, 18% target share, 24% targets per route run. Over the last 2 weeks, he's tight end 3. AJ Barner. I'm going with him. I know even we have him ranked at like, you know, 33rd or whatever at fantasy points, but I think I'd play Barner over Engram. I don't trust anybody in these Broncos offenses because I don't trust Sean Payton. Troutman will catch 38 balls.
Right. Well, I don't know about that, but I just feel like that game screams of like RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins and Cortland Sutton, and Evan Engram ends with like 2 for 11.
Somehow little Jordan Humphrey's back on the team and he's catching balls.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That game, by the way, I just said it's in Jacksonville, and that is a 1:00 kickoff, 47.5 on the total in that game. So I think I'm with you. I think I'm playing Barner over Engram, which seems weird to say in October, but I think that's the way I would play it. Okay. Let's get into some quarterbacks here. Daniel Jones this week, Brian, would you play him?
Really cooled down lately too.
He has, a little bit. Daniel Jones at home against the Cardinals, or would you play Matthew Stafford this week, who is at Baltimore, 7.5 point favorites, by the way?
Oh, Matthew Stafford all day. I mean, there's nobody. You and I could play defense for the Ravens right now. They have nobody back there.
So are you concerned with Kyron Williams going crazy, though? Doesn't sound like you are.
I mean, this always befuddles me when people say, like, can't play this guy, they're going to blow him out. Well, yeah, to blow a team out, you have to score a ton of points. And to score points in the Rams offense, it only goes through 3 guys. It goes through Devontae, it goes through Puka, and it goes through Kyron. That's it. And for 2 of those 3 to score, Matthew Stafford has to do something as well. So, yeah, I'm going to take Matthew Stafford here in that game because let's say Baltimore shows up and they actually put up a little bit of a fight here. And that's still good for Stafford throwing a ball around. Danny Dimes is fine, but there's a lot of Jonathan Taylor in this offense. And Jonathan Taylor could run for 3 touchdowns and Daniel Jones gives you nothing.
You know what's ironic about this is both of these teams are 7.5 point favorites. For what it's worth, the Rams are on the road. The Colts are at home. But it just, I mean, after you explain it to me, I'm kind of like, yeah, the Colts game seems like more of a Taylor game, and the Rams-Ravens game seems like more of a Stafford game. I don't know if that's because of the home away splits. I'm not really sure on that.
The beauty of that is Daniel Jones can do stuff with his legs, and Stafford absolutely cannot.
He cannot, and that's true. And so that's another reason to go with Jones. It's close, But for you, it's not close. It's Stafford all day.
Easily. Hey, we got our first tush push of the game coming up here.
Who is 29? Is that Dylan that's back in there? And I know I'm behind you. 29 is Dylan?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, we got a penalty here. We were getting ready for a tush push. And, there's a penalty. And the Eagles get an automatic first down.
And it's not
without even lining up.
It's not a false start on the tush push.
I didn't know what that. I've got my my volume down here because I'm a conscientious fantasy podcast guest.
All right, here's the thing, Brian. We got time.
Oh no, you know what it was? Review. They gave him a first down on review.
Okay, I got it. One more question tonight. Start or sit, and then we'll let you enjoy the rest of the game. We don't often get defense questions, but I feel like
nice. I do a streaming defenses article at fantasypoints.com. It's probably the best article I do all week, to be honest. So if you guys want it's a free article. You can use it for DFS, Dynasty, whatever, as AJ Brown almost scores. Check that out over at Fantasy Points.
I am a big defensive streamer. This is where you want to go for the best defensive streaming.
I've been crushing it this year.
This is one team that is not a streaming defense, and then one team that definitely is a streaming defense this week. Would you play the Raiders at home against the Titans over the Bills in Atlanta?
It was a struggle when I was writing up the article because I always look. Come on, Jalen. Hey, let me just see what Jalen does here. He's rolling out to his right, throwing it, and it's knocked right. Okay, so
what do we got? Third down then?
It's coming up 3rd and 1. Third, of course, it's 3rd and whatever because they know they got the tush push in their pocket. So now it's 3rd and 1 from like.
That's basically first down.
And so the Raiders are so bad that I know the Titans. It's they're like the best team against defenses or whatever or to stream against. But I have them down at 5. I might even have them at 6 behind the Cowboys this week because there's nothing special about the Raiders except for Max Crosby. Everybody else on this team stinks. So I kind of like Michael Penix throwing a few interceptions here and Buffalo getting some sacks. So it wouldn't shock me if Buffalo went off. I think just to be safe, neither of these teams I think sets the world on fire. Buffalo's got the chance, I think, for a pick 6. I don't trust the Raiders at all. There's no talent on that defense.
Except for Max Crosby.
One guy.
I will say this, and listen, Brian writes the article for Fantasy Points every week. He knows better than me, but I will say this. I like the team that is sleeping in their own beds the night before. And
I get it.
Raiders against the Titans, against Cam Ward, who has turned the ball over a lot this year. I would listen. I'm playing.
Let me read the blurb that I wrote about.
I'm gonna let you do that. I'm gonna let you do that. But I will say this: I'm playing the Bills in a few leagues this week. But if I had the choice between the Raiders and the Bills, I think I lean towards the Raiders here. Brian, go ahead.
By the way, the Eagles were stopped on the tush push on the 3rd down, and now it's 4th and inches, and they're going for it again.
Obviously, they're going to go for it. Why wouldn't you?
What happened? I don't know. So anyways, let me read while they're in town. This is what I wrote about the Raiders. They're 3% owned on Yahoo. They're playing at home against Tennessee. Mm-hmm. You thought we'd get a week without streaming against Cam Ward. Well, we almost did. Actually, I did forget to write it in. I had to put him in later. The Raiders defense isn't anything to write home about. It's barely anything to write a blurb about. They're bottom 10 in pressures and sacks. Vegas has just 4 takeaways thus far. So why would you ever play them? Simple. The Titans give up the 2nd most points in defense and special teams. Ward has thrown an interception in 3 straight games. His offensive line has allowed 19 sacks through 5 games. I'm not begging you to make this play. Vegas has scored negative points in 2 of its last 3 games. And I said, you have a better chance of hitting blackjack on 10 straight hands. But if you believe in Lady Luck, then roll the dice on the Raiders at home.
There you go. Good advice from Brian Drake. Listen, I've teased this multiple times tonight. You co-host the Fantasy Points podcast with John Hansen. Obviously churning out.
That's a blast. God bless John Hansen.
I love the show. Keep up the great work.
We do. People say they're like, we like the show because it gets off the rails quickly. And I go, perfect. That's exactly what John and I are trying to do.
Right. Yes. Which is always great. I love when John uses the word ass too. He's always like, I moved his ass up my rankings. I had to move his ass down my rankings. Like, oh, I can't believe I started his ass this week. It's always great. I love the dynamic between you guys. Obviously, you're also doing stuff for Fighting Chance Fantasy Sports, the Fantasy Football Hustle with Dwayne McFarland, SiriusXM Fantasy, the FSWA Award winner for Football Article of the Year. And don't forget everything you're doing with Fantasy Pros, obviously the Huddle, Sportskeeda. It's all over. I
got to write that Huddle article tonight still, so I might need another Surfside.
Yeah, slow down on the Surfsides then. Write it.
Oh, that means the article will get better.
Oh, well, then there you go.
Yeah.
X.com/Drake Fantasy. Is that the best place to keep in touch with everything you're doing?
No, Blue Sky.
Blue Sky.
I'm just kidding. It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hit me up there at Drake Fantasy on X or Blue Sky. The Eagles have now run their 5th straight tush push, and they're finally into the end zone with Jalen Hurts.
All right, so Jalen Hurts gets the touchdown to put the Eagles on top.
Jesus. But yeah, come hang out with me on X or Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok. I do an hour-long TikTok live stream every Sunday for Fantasy Pros, which is a blast. We just do it like during the games.
Oh, during the games.
During the games, because they were like, "When do you want to do it?" And I'm like, "Let's do." I always want to do something different. I'm like, nobody ever streams during the games.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll come on there because then I could do it like kind of end of the first games. And people can ask me start sit for the late window. They can bitch about their team from the early window, trade questions. Oh my God, I wish I started this guy. So it's fun. And you know how these kids are these days. They're all on the phone throughout the game. They're not paying attention. They're not even watching. They're just on TikTok and all this. So it's cool. It's something different. So I'm really glad to be a part of Fantasy Pros in a small capacity. And they've been very nice to me.
You were nice to us tonight by hanging out with us for 2+ hours. When your beloved Eagles are playing, I will encourage everybody to follow Drake Fantasy on X. Brian, we will definitely have you on again. Probably not on a night when the Eagles are playing Thursday Night Football. Appreciate you. The FFPC Weekly Challenge is live. No draft, no salary cap. Pick your 10 or 12 players. Win up to $2,500, 10, 30, and 100-team contest. Only one player per NFL team. I want to remind everybody, next week we'll be live for the Steelers and Bengals with C.H. Herms from Optimus Fantasy. He's going to join us at 7 o'clock Eastern. Don't forget,
he's a fantasy points guy. He edits the podcast.
He does. Yeah, absolutely. He's a great guy. And I'll tell you another great piece of advice. 9:30 a.m. kickoff in London on Sunday for Broncos and Jets. Get those players in or out of your lineups, whatever you want to do. I want to thank Brian Drake, and for him and our producer, Sean Engel, I'm Eric Balkman. This has been FFPC Insider Access live on the Better Sports Network. Enjoy the rest of the Eagles and Giants. Good luck in Week 6. Talk with you in Week 7.